for the masses.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army.
If the game is rigged, change the game. Game changer.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
This is Fade to Black with your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
I need your help to get to the year 1985.
You're listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
What up, what up? We're still here. Well, there's some time left. But pretty much everybody else is September 23rd, heading into the 24th. And we are still Fade to Black. That's right, bespoke radio for the masses. Today's Wednesday, September 23rd. I modified my numbers. 266 days into the new year, 99 days left. We are live from the City of Angels studios right here in downtown Burbank, California. COA Vapor, makers of the Fade to Black e-juice. It's called Fader Loops. Just go to the COA banner, JimmyChurchRadio.com. You can use the promo code JimmyLive for the Fade or Not special. I'd like to welcome everybody listening all around the world, all across the United States. Hither and thither, to and fro, back and forth, up and down, east and west, north and south, far and near. This is Fade to Black. For KJCR and the Game Changer Network, and KGRA, The Planet. I am your oh-so-humble host, Jimmy Church. What is cracking, everybody? We're still here. We're still here. Hallelujah. I was going to tweet that out earlier. Hallelujah. Is that religious? Hallelujah. Is that religious? Is that, does that have that connotation? Hallelujah. There you go. All right. Tonight, live from Rome, Italy, Leo Zagami will be here. And I'm going to give you guys a heads up. Leo didn't show up for his sound check before the show. Very interesting. So we've got text, we've got email, we've got notifications, everything in real time. I can see if Leo turns on his computer. I can see it from here. Believe it or not, I have that kind of technology. And so I'm waiting. But that is bizarre. So anyway, I expect him to be here, but if he's not, we have a backup plan in place. Yes, we do. All right, let's go. We are in the right smack dab in the middle of a very, very busy week for all of us here at Fade to Black. And today is Wednesday. We've had an incredible week so far with Andrew Collins and Andy Thomas last night. Two great shows back to back. And we're in the middle of a very busy week. So tonight's show, tomorrow night, and then Friday, of course, Coast to Coast. Saturday, the MUFON Symposium, Saturday and Sunday. Very busy week. And then, of course, we've got to just turn around, come back from Irvine, and then start another week of shows. So all in all, we're looking at Oh my goodness. I don't know. What is that? 15 days straight. It's going to be rough, but it's good. It's good. We're just hanging out with all of you. Very excited. Okay. And so, like I said, Leo, we're waiting. It's all good. It won't be the first time that we have brought on a guest without a sound check. And it usually happens overseas, because when we do the overseas stuff, with these extreme swings in time zones, in a lot of cases, it's 4 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m., 5 a.m., 6 a.m., depending on where they are, over in Europe. And I've had to do it. Had to start the show, don't hear from anybody, and then bring them on live. And I've done it with people right here in Los Angeles, too, by the way. And just, you just got to run with it. So it's not that big of a deal. But it's the tension. The tension. All right. Let's see here. And which, and if our backup plan goes into effect tonight, we've got a really, really, really cool guest lined up. We do. All right. The notices went out yesterday, by the way, for Alien Snowfest, which will be February 5th through the 7th, 2016, right here in Big Bear, California. It's a great opportunity for all of you Fadernauts and ufologists and researchers and so forth of the subject to get together here in Southern California. And it's in Big Bear. Now, everybody here in Southern California, by the way, there's an airport right there in Ontario. You can wing it in. Great airport, international. And so the access to Big Bear is awesome. But if you live here in Southern California, we know how cool Big Bear is. Big Bear is the shiznickel. And it's right there in February in Big Bear, and I'm not joking, 10 feet of snow, and the right attitude. It is just the coolest town. It is in all of America. So having a convention like this, a conference like this in Big Bear in February is just extraordinary. So it's a great weekend getaway. You would do it anyway here in Southern California. You would go anyway. That's what we do. So get up there. George Norrie, Linda Moulton Howe, Jason Martell, Stanton Friedman, Micah Hanks, Mike Barrer, Richard Dolan, and myself, all at the same time. It's, that's a lineup of speakers that's called No Filler. That's no joke. That is no filler right there. Alien Snowfest. You can go to aliensnowfest.com. Tickets and info. It's all there. All right. Let's see. Where am I? Okay, you know what? Let's just get the show cracking because I have some comments I want to make about something that hit me in the forehead earlier today. And actually, it was yesterday. That's a fib. It was yesterday, and I was going to talk about it yesterday, and it just bothered me more today. So I'm going to let my brain run and connected with my mouth. But let's get the show cracking because today, Bruce Springsteen is 66 years old. Yes. You know what? I'll tell you right now. I get Bruce. He's a genius. Anytime any concerts are on Palladium and whatever Access TV, I watch. I dig me Bruce. Bruce is singular. But I didn't get Bruce, man. He wasn't rock and roll enough for me growing up. I know. Isn't that weird? I said it. And now, how wrong can somebody be? I was way off track. I just wish I would have had my eyes open a little wider. If you didn't have Marshall Stacks and a Strat with a whammy bar, I wasn't into it, So anyway, Bruce, cool name too. Bruce Springsteen today. Happy birthday, 66 years old. Also today, one of the greats, Julio Iglesias, is 72. Yeah. And one of my favorites, Shy McBride, is 54. And I went today and I looked Shy McBride is a funny dude, but he's had his serious roles too. And I went and I looked at his IMDb account and looked at everything that oh my goodness gracious, he's been in everything. iRobot, just name so many movies, so many television series. But that ain't what makes him good. No, the other stuff it's his role as Barry and Let's Go to Prison. That's Shy McBride. That's his best flick. That's his best role. That's Shy McBride. Barry. What's up, Barry? All right. Our dead guy's birthday today. John Coltrane. 1926 to 1967. Died at the age of 40. And I'll say this now. Moment of silence, please. Besides Miles Davis, Coltrane is probably the most influential jazz musician ever. And that's a heavy statement because you can name so many names there. But seriously, John Coltrane. And I went and listened to Giant Steps. I hadn't heard that in a while. And then I just goosebumps. And then I went and listened to So What by Miles Davis and with Coltrane. And greatness. That is all. That's all I have to say. Happy birthday. Man, So What? Oh, man. Kind of Blue. Oh, God. John Coltrane. Happy birthday. And don't forget, the word of the day is still spoon. Follow us on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Oops. Follow us on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Email is jimmy@jimmychurchradio.com. And, we got tons of email today. Don't think we didn't see it. About everything being taken off of a Spreaker. We do that for a reason, and we haven't stayed up on it. It's for everybody that pays for the podcast. You got to do them right. So, if you need any back episodes, it's all there, man. Just go subscribe to the podcast. That's all you got to do. And it cheats our numbers, too. If we take everything off of Spreaker, we don't get those numbers. It's only the single shows, but that's it. Subscribe to the podcast at jimmychurchradio.com. I'll be back right after this. Stay with us.
You're listening to Jimmy Church Fade to Black.
Fade to Black will now pause for alien identification.
The station that talks the net. KGRA Radio.
What's up, revolutionaries? It's me, Jimmy Church. Do you have an IRS or state tax issue? Well, I did, and I called national tax experts. My problems were fixed, done, fini, and man, I gotta tell you, it was a relief. National Tax Experts are a recognized tax office that services clients in all 50 states. It doesn't matter where you live. Give them a call. I'm telling you, they take the time to understand each and every client's individual financial status as well as their financial goals. And that's exactly what you need, my brother, when you're taking on the evil 3-letter. So, seriously, give them a call today at 1-877-909-5444. Again, 1-877-909-5444, or go check out their website, www.nattaxexperts.com. That's NATTAXEXPERTS.com. Tell them Jimmy sent you.
9 out of 10 geneticists agree.
Fade to Black is not your father's radio show on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the planet.
Hi, this is Chase Klutsky with Fate Magazine Radio, and you're listening to Jimmy Church and Fade to Black on the Game Changer Network and the KGRA digital broadcast station, where the Fade or Nots rock.
Hi, this is Rob Reiner from Anvil, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com.
What's up? I'm Chris. What up? This is Kyle Massey, and you're listening to Jimmy Church Radio.
Welcome back. We're still here. Fade to Black. Whew. That was close, huh? It was close. I guess. According to everybody, let's see what they say tomorrow. I'm not being Joe skeptical here. I'm not being Joe skeptic. Because you never know. But I just got to say, what a wind-up. Day's not over yet, though. But it is. It's the 24th in Australia, right? Somebody check. Make sure Australia is still there. Everybody in Australia. If you're in Australia right now, tweet in and say, church, pretty much we're good. It's terra firma out here. It's all good. So I'll keep an eye on it there. And, okay, all right. On this day in history, 1846, big day, the eighth planet was discovered. German astronomer Johann Gottfried Galle discovers the planet Neptune at the Berlin Observatory. 1846. Well, if he discovered it in 1846... There's too many jokes there. Why did everybody else know? Fate or facts for 5,000 years. Fate or facts. Rhode Island and New York are tied for the least religious states. This isn't a religious show, but that's a religious fact. Rhode Island and New York are tied for the least religious states. And before I get to all the news that you know nothing about, this hit me yesterday, and I've thought about it before, but there's all this bickering going on right now with all of these guys that are running for POTUS. And Huckabee running his mouth. Everybody's talking about who's a Christian, who's not, who's Catholic, who's not, who's Muslim, who's not. And making everybody's just the most righteous guy. They want to have Trump quote from the Bible and Bible verses. And I first off, I believe all of that is wrong. It does not matter. We were talking about Romney last night on the show. Remember, we couldn't remember his name. Mormon, who cares? None of that matters. And it's not supposed to. But of all of these candidates, and let's go Democrat, I'm not just staying Republican, any candidate. This is what really pisses me off. And I want you to listen closely. Every one of those cats is talking about fundraising and their donors and their super PACs. 5 million here, 5 million there. We're going to do $100 million in commercial time. We're ready to go. 10 million, 5 million, $1,000 a plate. We're doing money to run this campaign, and we've got the most. And I stopped and thought about that for a second. It is so wrong, how a candidate like that could brag about money that is wasted on a campaign. Wasted. You might as well light it on fire. Wasted. Because only one is going to get elected. So how many hundreds of millions of dollars is flushed down the toilet? Gone. And yet, how do they feel, oh, righteous one, if they went down to Skid Row in Los Angeles? 10,000 people living in the streets. Drive around this country and look at the homeless problems, the veteran problems, the mom with kids problems, the mom with 2 or 3 jobs and is worrying how she's going to make that car payment, the rent payment, maybe no car payment. How about a bus ride to work? But yet these guys can turn around and call themselves righteous and the good book when they're taking money and hundreds of flushing it down the toilet. It's got to stop. Stop. It's got to stop. I don't feel right about it at all. There's too many. Could you imagine what $10 million, $15, $20 million would do? How many free lunches that would be in elementary schools across this country? Free breakfast? How many kids you could feed in a year? Righteous one. If one of those cats stepped up, one, and said, you know what? I just got $50 million in this cat. I don't need this. I'll give $25 million right now. Cash. Boom. Done. And I'll put it back into whatever. Buy books for school. Buy clothes. Take care of somebody's rent for a year that really needs it. Why don't you go do something like that? And it's disgusting. And I don't care if it's Trump's own money. Think about it. Think about it. Hundreds of millions of, well, I can afford it. It's not going to hurt me. I'm worth $10 billion. What if you lose? So you're going to spend $250 million if you just flush it down the toilet. It's insane. We certainly have, those guys have too much. Too much. And when I see 11 candidates, well, not, a couple have dropped out, up there bickering at each other with personal attacks and this and talking about PACs and super PACs and money and donors amongst themselves like it's some kind of game. And they do this for 6 months of a time where they don't need to do it. It's all a waste. It's got to stop. And so I was thinking today, why with so many cool people in this country, 95% of us are pretty spot on the money, and we recognize. How come we just haven't stepped up and said enough is enough with this? We don't need to be bogged down mentally with you guys a year and a half before the elections. We don't. We should just open up the starting gates 3 months before the elections and give these guys $10 million each and let them go. And it's about speeches. It isn't about, all of this, how do I say this? Television time and swaying the mass media and the public that way. Get up, debate, give it your best shot, and let's see who's the best, who's the best. And let's save $1 billion and put that back into something else. That's just me. But it just, I can't take it anymore. It's weird. I'm just angry with this. And we're all seeing it. How do you feel when you know that you guys are struggling just like us over here, paycheck to paycheck? I'm not a millionaire. I don't have a Lamborghini sitting in the driveway. I don't. So when I'm sitting here and I have to sit and sweat, I know that everybody else is sweating the same way too. I understand. So doesn't it just get under your skin? And this show isn't a political show. It's not about that, but it's a conspiracy show. And I see that, and there is, these guys are breaking laws right now. There's more than 2 people conspiring to spend your money and steal it from you to flush it down the toilet. It's a conspiracy, and it should be illegal. should be wrong. There's no way that the losing candidate has to spend $100 million on a campaign. That's one guy. But we're talking about a half a dozen, 8 guys right now, all doing the same thing. It is huge money. And I look at the homeless problem or kids on the street. You know, I have been known, not often, but if the opportunity is there, Rita and I were at a Subway. This is 3, 4, 5 years ago, and there was a mom in there, and I think she had 4 kids with her, and she was buying foot-long or 8-inch, whatever, sandwich, and cutting them in half and making deals with the kids, buying the cheapest Subway sandwiches she could, and the kids were just, you know, so well behaved, but she fell short on the cash, and I stepped up and I literally said, you know what, guys, I hope you don't mind, ma'am. Get whatever you want. Just get whatever you want. You want those cookies? Get some chips. Go to the thing. Grab some drinks. Footlongs for everybody. No baloney. Go for it. And it's not about, you know, I've never told anybody that story, but that I recognize what's going on. It's not easy for everybody. And to see these guys waste money like that, flaunting it on national TV is disgusting. Makes me ill. Makes me ill. We need to stop it. This should be, you know what, this campaign, this should be the last run. We should spend the next 2-3 years of not forgetting. Don't forget this and let this go, and make sure that the next time around, this BS doesn't go down like this. It's just wrong. Wrong. All right. That's it. All right, man. You know, it just bothered. It got to me. And it was just one of those things where it was this light bulb going, what are we doing? We don't have that much money. And until we fix the homeless and the veterans and the poor and everything else that is wrong in this country, we shouldn't be doing this. There's other things to take care of first than to make sure that one of these yahoos has a good campaign run that he's going to lose. It's just not right. It's not right. It's not right. Okay. I got to get out of here. We are ready. We got Leo in the batter's box. This is Fade to Black, live from the UK. Leo Zagami is with us. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Fade to Black, bespoke radio for the masses. I'll be back with Leo Zagami right after this. Stay with us.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
The station that talks the net. KGRA Radio.
Hello, I'm Katie, and you're listening to my main man, Jimmy Church, on jimmychurchradio.com.
Hi, this is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black. Today, everybody, the Fadernauts and planet Earth is vaping, and I'm very proud to announce our very own e-juice. When we were approached by City of Angels Vapor about Fade to Black e-juice, I wanted to make sure that it was the very best and that the flavors were something that I could create myself, and we did just that. Introducing Fade to Black Fader Loops. This will take you right back to Saturday morning cartoons and your favorite bowl of fruity, loopy cereal. Just click on the banner or go to www.coavapor.com. Enter the promo code Jimmy for the Fader Not special. That's www.coavapor.com. Go back, Lee Tappy.
Hi, this is Ray Hobbs here, repping the planet, and you're listening to my good friend, Jimmy Church, Fade to Black, on the Game Changer Network and the KGRA Digital Broadcast Station.
Imagine no longer being tied down to your computer, but having the freedom to take live talk radio with you anywhere you go. TalkStream Live introduces our first ever iPhone application. The talk shows you follow now follow you, and your iPhone is now the fastest and easiest way to stay connected to the best talk radio on the internet. Let TalkStream Live transform the way you listen to radio. Listen to live talk shows 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Mobile talk radio from TalkStream Live. Now available in the iTunes App Store.
This is Toby Kebbell. You're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com. Don't hurt me, Jimmy. I'm only little.
Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier. And this is Ari Gold. We're the Honey Brothers. Yes. We are of the Honey Brothers. Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier.
And I'm Ari Gold.
We're the Honey Brothers.
And you're listening to Jimmy Church.
The Revolution.
Attention, all Fade or Not. Studio Dome has a special deal on their SD1 Bluetooth speaker. Just go to JimmyChurchRadio.com, click on their banner, enter the promo code Jimmy, and you get $40 off and free shipping on the SD1. It's voice activated, comes with a USB antenna, cables, and a carry bag. Never listen to your phone, tablet, or laptop speakers ever again. It's the only way to listen to Fade to Black. That's JimmyChurchRadio.com. Studio Dome banner, promo code Jimmy. Go Beckley Teppy.
This is Micah Hanks of the Gralien Report, and you're listening to Jimmy Church on Fade to Black. Across the globe on the Game Changer Radio Network and the one and only KGRA Radio, The Planet.
All right, welcome back, Fade to Black. Bespoke radio for the masses. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. We're trying to get Leo back. Leo Zagami. He was there for a second. He was there. He was right there, and it was all good. But now, Skype, by the way, has been acting funny for the last 2 or 3 days, and it's just it is not connecting. We had him though. We had him for about a minute. I'm looking here, 1 minute and 36 seconds. We were looking good, and okay, all right. The Pope arrived today. The rumors going around while I wait for Leo, I'm just gonna say some of the things that I need to say. Here it is. It's September 23rd. We had the longest list of things that were put together around the internet for September 23rd, and one of them was, the Pope. I had watched and read, too, a few different articles out there about what the Pope was going to say. He was going to march into the White House. Then he was going to have an announcement to the people out in front of the White House that aliens were coming. Right? Okay? Aliens were going to, E.T. was going to arrive. We were going to be attacked. And I had read a couple of different views on this. One, that it was going to be real. E.T. is here. It's going to be real. And then another one, it's going to be done with Project Bluebeam. It's going to be holograms. And that is, it's actually the rapture. And they're going to hide the rapture behind E.T. And it's pretty compelling. You read it, and it's like, wow, okay, yeah, it could happen that way. Okay. All right. Well, as far as I know, the Pope today rolled up in his Fiat, and that was actually pretty cool. It was pretty cool. Black Fiat. Jumps out of his Fiat at the White House, and I'm waiting. I'm just waiting. Nothing. Tra-la-la. Nothing. And, of course, the Day of Atonement was today. The Pope's visit, this is going to be going on for 6 days. I guess technically this is the second day. Tomorrow is the joint session, and he's going to speak there. And at least, There's one other thing. I don't know if you noticed this. Do you feel it? Pope is speaking in English. I can't remember if a pope ever did that before. At least in the first round, speaks in 25 different languages, and we get a little piece of each one or whatever. Okay, yeah. But the Pope is speaking in English, and he's here in America. And so there isn't any mincing of words, any confusion about what he is saying. Now, I'm not saying that his message isn't cool. Poverty and climate change and equality, and he's all about, the slums of Argentina where he's most comfortable, and he's not going to roll around in an SUV and waste, and he pulls up in the Fiat. So his message is cool. And I'm sure that there's a weird vibe going on right now with the Pope and Obama about I don't know if there's gay marriage, and there's that issue. I'm sure that they're upset about that, and they're not cool. But yet he says that he wants this open thing. So not to go into all of that, but what I'm saying this because that's the conversation. The conversation isn't about the end of the world. It's about other stuff. And certainly the church has got their own issues that they're dealing with too as well. I had read today 70 million Catholics in the United States. 70 million. It's a lot. It's 1 out of 4 people. So, that's a lot of pull. And so he's got his issues that he's going to be discussing, but I've been waiting for this end of the world stuff. And I went through and I was looking at, excuse me for a second. I was looking at, had to hit the cough button. Remember, I'm still sick. I was looking at all of the Jewish calendars and Thomas Horn's book, and how Jerusalem was reclaimed by Israel, 6 Days War, T.W. Tram, and the mathematics there with the Hebrew year of 5727 and 360 days as a prophetic year and so forth. And I'm looking at all of this, and with all of the knowledge that is out there of September 23rd, who are these authors? What are they going to say tomorrow or the next day? That's one of the things that is the most fascinating with me about all of this, is now you got to go back and go, well, it's going to be next week. We're going to be off, because when we go back in time, and even if we go back as little as 1,500 years, the calendar starts to get really, really, really screwed up. And potentially we are missing big chunks of time. And when you go around the year 300, 330, there's some issues there too as well. If you get back to 400 BC, 500 BC, 600 BC, now we're depending on Greek records and Roman records, trying to tie in what day is what. But there isn't an actual, somewhere in the world, a day by day by day accounting of everything that ever was going back to whatever. It doesn't exist. We can go back a certain amount and be fairly accurate and account for things. But before that, it gets cloudy around the year 800. I'm just letting you know right now, 800 AD. That's where it's funky. End of the Dark Ages. Pretty funky right there. And then you start to back up off of that. And, okay, Leo says he is here. Let's see if I can bring him in. Okay. It's looking solid. No. And let's see here. Let's see if I can bring him in. Leo, are you there?
Yes, I'm finally here. The internet, unfortunately, has been going up and down. I don't know why, but we had some technical difficulties.
It's the Pope's visit, Leo. It's the Pope's visit.
Well, probably. There's something going on.
Well, I didn't get a chance to introduce you, so normally it's done a little bit more professionally, Leo. So I apologize for that. So just let me do an introduction for you, and just stay right there. Leo Zagami decided in 2006 to walk out from what he perceived as the criminal side of the New World Order after 3 years of internal conflicts. Zagami is still, at present, Grand Master of the Ordo Illuminatorum Universalis, and between 2009 and 2014, Zagami published 12 books, 2 of which were co-written with Benjamin Fulford, and another 2 co-written with Princess Kaoru Nakamaru. I got that right. Pretty good.
Yes.
Of the Vatican and New World Order. His 15-page trilogy called the La Confessione di un Illuminato, dedicated to espionage, Knights Templar, Satanism in the Vatican. He has been in the post involved with the production of documentaries for English web television. Enigma TV now appears regularly on the popular Italian TV show Mistero on Italia 1 and in numerous conferences and seminars around Italy. Zagami currently has a 5-book deal with CCC Publishing. His current release is The Last Pope, and Confessions of an Illuminati will be released on January 1st, 2016. Volume 2 will be out in June 2016. I hope you keep on schedule. You've got a busy schedule coming up there, Leo. And I'll say this, welcome to Fade to Black, Leo Zagami. All right, Leo, what time is it in Rome right now?
Early hours of the morning. It's around 4:42 in the morning, so it's pretty early.
Oh, love the accent, by the way. And I did go, I don't want to make light of this, I did see your little expose that you did with Alex Jones, with you guys walking around Rome. And I have to say, even for Alex, I think Alex was even a bit short of words, which is strange. I think he was a bit in shock with the information that you were pointing out to him as you guys walked around the streets of Rome. What was it like meeting Alex, and did you freak him out? Because it looks like you did.
Now, well, with Alex, we have really a great relationship and very big mutual respect for the work we have conducted in the last few years, even if under different circumstances. What happened really is that for many years he didn't really want to attack the Catholic Church because he didn't feel like it had really all that to do with the New World Order, and when he realized that he really wanted to focus on it, but he is really a good guy, I must say. He's really different from how you perceive it on the media in the US when you meet him in person. And he said, Leo, I admit, that I don't know much about this subject, so I want you that have been right so many times in regards to the Catholic Church to really be, my guide through all this. And we had to do this documentary in a brief period of time to not get the authorities to wake up to the fact that me and Alex were doing this, because the Vatican authorities know perfectly well both who is Leo Zagami and who is Alex Jones. And of course, putting together these two people and then doing an expose on the Vatican wasn't something that they would like very much. So we had to do it in a specific time frame, in a specific also month of the year in which maybe the guard goes a little bit down in the Vatican because everybody is notoriously on holiday in Rome, to actually be able to then go to those places without getting too much attention and possibly even getting arrested. I mean, it was at one point a little bit scary because we really had the police on our backs. But as I said, also previously, I have a few connections myself in Italy. So, I mean, of course, I warned my connections at one point that I would be doing this, but I didn't really tell them the whole extent of it until the last second, so they couldn't get ready. You understand?
Yes.
Because the moment in which they would get ready, the whole thing would blow up out of proportions, and we would get, for sure in trouble. Now, what's happening is this. of course, this work we have done together might be inspirational for many other researchers now, and I'm sure that people will definitely get on the ball game regarding the Vatican as a serious topic of the New World Order. Now they understand. Also, Alex has been taking seriously this topic now for at least a year or so, or maybe even longer. And since he did that, I must say that a lot of people finally have been able to put the dots together. In regards instead also for me, my relationship also with Alex, the way I perceive Alex, I must say that in a way things came really together, because back in the year 2000, when the year 2001, he did this incredible expose, as you remember, of the Bohemian Grove. Mm-hmm. He actually triggered the first reactions within the secret society network that he, of course, infiltrated. And this, in turn, created some reactions within this network, which I was part of at that time. Okay?
Yes.
So basically, by being able to actually have a video expose of those people in the Bohemian Grove, many Freemasons, of high-level Freemasons, were not able anymore to neglect the fact that there is, of course, it's not Freemasonry in the strict sense. These are societies that are born outside of Freemasonry. We have to be honest about this. But they collect a lot of their membership from Freemasonry, and they have their origins within, let's say, the mystery school tradition of the West. And of course, Freemasonry has been prominent in the last 3 centuries. Yeah. So by doing what he has done at that time, he was in a way inspirational also to us that were in the inside and could see that there was a lot of hypocrisy concerning, for example, the Bohemian Grove. Because when I went to the United Grand Lodge of England, at the time I was a Mason, and in a meeting, I remember, Kirby Lodge 2818, we discussed what Alex had done. I started to see in the eyes, especially of the older members, some disturbed kind of faces. While instead, with the younger ones, they were like, well, actually, it's refreshing to see that somebody is daring so much, and that there is a reality really beyond Freemasonry in other secret societies of this network that we commonly refer to as the Illuminati, which of course are up to something which is not very clear. Because when the cremation of Care ritual was filmed by Alex and ended up in the documentaries Dark Secrets Inside the Bohemian Grove and Secret Ruler of the World, definitely things have changed in the year 2000 when he did that, at the turn of the millennium. Of course, then we had 2001, we had the 9/11, it was a turning point, even for many people like me who were inside this New World Order network, because we started to face things with a different perspective. We started to ask questions also, sometimes you are subject to a system, but you don't really demand or ask questions because you just go along with it, okay?
Yes, and now, I have to ask you there, you weren't expecting the New World Order and the Illuminati to take things to such extremes?
Well, no. The thing is that with 9/11, it was like a turning point. At that point, I saw that things were taking a serious direction towards manifesting the prophecies, towards really what the Christians, between brackets, called the end of times kind of scenario. Yes. So in 2003, I started to make the first moves against this network, and I ended up having some clashes that ended up with me coming completely out of it in 2006, and then retaining in 2008 the independence for my own order, which I am currently the Grand Master, from any New World Order setup with the meeting we had in Nice in 2008. Right. So when Alex contacted me, we contacted each other. It was really a magical synchronicity because he was thinking of contacting me. I was thinking of contacting him because I saw that he was was getting right on the problem, the issue of the moment, which was the Vatican involvement in the New World Order. And it coincided also, as you know, with the release of my book in the US, which is Pope Francis the Last Pope ? by CCC Publishing. So at this point, we thought, okay, let's get this thing really, one notch up, and put pressure on the New World Order by doing a documentary right in the heart of the problem.
Right.
Of course, the heart of the problem is not only Rome, but is also Washington, as is also Tel Aviv or Jerusalem. Because, of course, in all of this, a lot of people on the internet said, you are criticizing only the Vatican, New World Order setup, the Jesuits, without mentioning the Zionists or the Israel responsibility. That's not true, because even in the documentary made with Alex, I say that in 1958, the Vatican was infiltrated by Freemasons, and they made a deal with B'nai Brit and with the Zionists. So basically, Jesuits and Zionists go hand in hand. So
wow, that's incredible. Incredible.
And this expose will continue. In fact, with Alex, we will be on the air again on InfoWars actually today, commenting what's going on with the Pope and bringing this experience that I had personally myself, being involved directly, but also being able from Rome to have a different perspective from you in America. So I am really in a way now functioning as a Vaticanist. Vaticanist is somebody that takes care of the information from the Vatican for InfoWars, and I think that's very good, because then I can have a bird's eye view of the situation and not an external view, because in such delicate matters you need to be very correct, so then you don't get any lawsuits, any defamation suits, anything.
Well, let me jump in, Leo. You guys have freedom of the press and freedom of speech in Israel.
But not so much as you in the US. Okay. We are under risk here. I currently myself am under risk. They just notified to me maybe 2 weeks ago a lawsuit that somebody wants to do against me. I tell you, absolutely no reason. They're doing it, of course, because they're moved by the system against me. The good thing, I must say, in this case is that I have a network of lawyers also, in this case a very famous one called Alfonso Luigi Marra, who is quite well known in Italy for fighting the banking system, who has put himself at disposal for free for me to fight this war against somebody who is actually a colleague, a journalist colleague that I was, I used to work with, and now, of course, this once, because they are in an order, the journalists in Italy. I'm not in this order. It's called the Order of the Journalist. Imagine that.
Wow.
In Italy, Order of Journalists. And this Order of the Journalists, I have many times called them criminals, because when we actually did things in Italy, also politically and in other ways, they always manipulate the information, and they even actively promote censorship within the Order of the Journalists. So basically what happened is that I am not a member of this order, so I'm not subject to the rules, but this colleague of mine was subject to these rules. So once they contacted this colleague and said, you can't talk anymore about all this, this person had to stop, and also they had to get, let's say, officially distanced from me, and they even made some official statements against. And so, and then at the same time, they accused me of being the bad person, because so it's really difficult here to work with journalists and to even trust them. I have been always working with the foreign press in Italy. I'm considered foreign press in Italy. I even, when I used to do my meetings, my things, I always conducted them we have like a foreign press agency in Rome, and I worked with them. I never worked with the Italian Order of the Journalists, and I'm definitely, I also said to other people who wanted to collaborate, journalists in Italy, I'm never going to have anything to do with them anymore because of what happened, because I just simply can't trust them,
Well, can you be critical of the Vatican in Italy?
Well, this is what happened. You were mentioning in my bio, and in fact now actually I have to update it, that I used to be often guested on TV in Italy, on Italia Uno, which is one of Berlusconi's main channels. And then what happened was that one day they invited me in the afternoon on the main state channel, which is called Rai Uno. And I got in an argument with the main journalist live on TV because I basically was telling the truth about the Italian president and about the state secrets he was keeping. At one point, they even took the microphone from me at the second time they were live, because it was a live show conducted, and so it was difficult for them to take the line off me, because they presented me to the whole of Italy. Right. But at one point, they actually had the courage to literally take the microphone off me in front of the whole of Italy. And it created a big stir, because you can imagine, here we're talking about kind of primetime TV, and you have somebody who is quite known because I was on Berlusconi's channels talking about subjects like the New World Order, Club Bilderberg, the Vatican, and so on. Right. And you have literally the journalist taking the microphone off in front of my face, literally off me, And people got mad in Italy. There were people the day after, I remember there were, hunters, militia people and stuff that literally wanted to take their guns in their hands to go and fight these people from the right. And because this was state TV, obviously demonstrating that they work for the New World Order, Yes. So from there on, even Berlusconi's channel, the Italia Uno, which I used to collaborate with, they took me off the air. And this person who is actually, imagine this, just to give you a crazy example, this person that now is trying to sue me and find a way to sue me, but it will be very difficult because, as I said, I have a good lawyer, actually took my place in that TV station and conducted the show for the months to come.
What does that tell you? The message is that you have something to say and that you matter. And when you
also, in the end, I had to decide to stop collaborating with Italian TVs and media, and that's why now I'm going to work regularly with InfoWars as the only outlet, because I don't think I can trust any longer Italian media in any way.
Let's take a quick break, Leo, then we'll go straight for the next hour. Okay, you ready? This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church, tonight, live from Rome, Italy. Leo Zagami. When we come back, we've got to ask direct, why is the Pope here? We'll be back right after this. Stay with us.
Way out here, we listen to Jimmy Church.
You're listening to Fade to Black.
Always on the edge of the hottest alternative talk. Jimmy Church with Fade to Black. KGRAradio.com.
Hey, everybody. What's up? Jimmy Church of Fade to Black. And check this out. The 2015 MUFON Symposium will be held this September 24th through the 27th in beautiful downtown Irvine, California. Expanding ufology, opening new doors in academia, industry, and media. Former Defense Minister of Canada Paul Hellyer will be there in person. Former CNN news anchor Cheryl Jones, TV news journalist Jaime Maussan, and MUFON's chief photo analyst Mark D'Antonio. They're just a few of the growing list of names for the 2015 event. It's September 24th through the 27th at the beautiful Hotel Irvine. Get your tickets today at MUFONSymposium.com. That's MUFONSymposium.com. Go Beckley Tepe.
¿Qué tal, mis amigos? Yo soy Mario Carson, el tiburón, y los invito para que escuchen a mi buen amigo Jimmy Church Radio. ¡Claro que sí!
Did you ever turn to your radio for your favorite talk show to find that it's been preempted for this?
In the air, to deep right center. Back goes Lewis to the wall, and it's out of here!
Or this?
And I'm ashamed of you, Hillary, for voting for it.
Do you have a favorite talk radio program that's not available in your city? Just go to TalkStreamLive.com for links to the best streaming talk radio shows. At TalkStream Live, you will find live talk shows 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. All your favorites are here. With such a large selection, you will also discover some new favorites. On the go and still want to listen? With the mobile smartphone, simply type TalkStream Live on your internet browser. Now you can take internet radio with you. You will also find hundreds of music, news, and sports streams. Best of all, the TalkStream Live directory is free and there's never a login required. Remember TalkStreamLive.com, the fastest route between you and your favorite talk radio show.
You are listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Oi, oi, I'm Reese Evans. You're listening to Jimmy Church. This is Revolution. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution is on radio. Ciao.
Welcome back, Fade to Black, bespoke radio for the masses. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, Leo Zagami is live from Rome, Italy. Yes, the Pope arrived in the United States yesterday, did his drive by the White House today, spoke in front of 11,000 people, and pulled up in his little black Fiat. And he's officially here.
Well, I mean, that is not even a product placement for Italy, because Fiat is not an Italian company any longer, and it's now residing officially for the tax, I think, in Holland, and basically it's then joined with Chrysler, and Obama made all this possible. So basically, it is a product placement for Chrysler more than Fiat even. So I mean, it's really like inserting a little spot, you know. I mean, when you do this stunt, it kind of had, I saw today, this Walt Disney kind of feel to it, and then you put the little, you know, promo for the car of the moment. I mean, it's just like going to the cinema. I mean, the whole really experience of Pope Francis in the U.S. is, under my perspective, is really sickening, because I know this guy very well here in Rome. I mean, I know how it works, and to see how they treat him in the U.S. and the whole show, it's just, it's a bit too Hollywood, as we say in jargon here in Italy.
Well, you know, that Fiat logo, I was watching it today, you know, the back of the car. And it couldn't have been more prominent. It was pretty funny. You're absolutely right. That was
the leaders. I mean, the people who actually inherited from the Agnelli family this Fiat company are the Elkann family, which married into Agnelli family. They're a famous Jewish family, and they are prominent members of the Aspen Institute, which, as you know, is a very important institute, a bit like the Club Bilderberg, if not even more important at times.
Yes. Yeah.
So, Fiat it's part of the New World Order. It's not some little Italian brand like they want to make out of it on Fox or something when they say, oh, he's coming in his poor little Italian car.
Well, you know, most people here in the United States, here we're a little bit insulated from the rest of the world, but most of us don't understand how big Fiat is. And has been. It is a huge company.
I mean, one of the key people who now died, the Gianni Agnelli, for many years conducted this company, was basically the best friend of David Rockefeller. I mean, guys, we are talking here about the elite of the New World Order.
That's right.
Well, I mean...
well, why is the Pope here? Why this visit? Everything seems to be a first. The United Nations, the joint sessions of Congress, sitting down at the White House, speaking English for that matter, too, as well.
Yes. I mean, it's definitely the first Jesuit Pope in history, and Jesuits mingle always in politics. They are the intelligence setup of the Vatican, so no wonder that we have him mingling into U.S. politics already after his arrival and being so much a protagonist of it, like never before in history. Because really, I mean, did we ever have Fox News or any other U.S. channel broadcasting a Catholic Mass non-stop, at times even without even a commentary? I mean, it was just, I think it's a bit too much. I mean, okay, this demonstrates though one thing, Jimmy. We're going towards a one-world religion, and like I showed in the documentary made for InfoWars with Alex, definitely this one-world religion will be directed by the Vatican, because it seems like the Vatican is the most suitable and also the most prepared to conduct this one-world religion setup. So we are having him in a couple of days also conducting a multi-religious ceremony at Ground Zero. That is part of this one-world religion setup, as well as his visit to the UN, which coincides, of course, also with the start of Agenda 2030, but it's also something to do with the fact that in the United Nations building we have an egregor. That means a forma pensiero, that means the thought of many people together create an egregor, just like the one of the Catholic Church. Mm-hmm. And this egregor, if you want to know more about egregor, you can go and study this subject. I will advise all your listeners to do so, especially if they are in the UFO phenomena, because egregor and UFO phenomenon have many things to do one with the other, because the entities, the egregor, this entity basically feeds an entity, this energy. And so the egregor of the Catholic Church is one of the most powerful in mankind, and to see it actually activated with a mass in front of everybody and making a new saint, which is a criminal, because the guy, we have to say, is a criminal. I know, guys, that you are down there in California, but Junipero Serra, even by the indigenous people of California, the tribal descendants of those mission, the ones who were persecuted by the mission system of Serra, have opposed strongly this decision. What do you think down in California of this decision?
Well, there is, I was actually just going to look this up really quick. There is a mission not too far from our studio, the San Fernando mission, right here. It's right here. Now, when I say right here, 10-minute drive on city streets. Okay, mm-hmm. So just it's a couple of miles away, and I don't know if he built that one, and I was going to look that up, but he certainly, I think, out of the 20 or so missions that are here, he directly built, I think, 9 or 10, and they are beautiful. There's no doubt about it. And they've stood up through earthquakes and all of the natural disaster. The buildings are still here after 250, 300 years. That being said, what we don't know is the history behind how they were built. And only now with this Pope's visit are people talking about it. But here in California, Leo, this is no joke. I have 2 daughters. Both daughters, I think in the 4th grade, had to build a model of a mission. They are taught. You understand what I'm saying? They are taught.
Yeah. Actually, I heard about this from a representative of the Native American Indians that in any case pointed out on the fact that, it's pretty folkloristic, but it doesn't really explain the torture and the extermination that these people had to go through in order to, have these missions established. So,
can anybody be unsainted?
Well, it's interesting that there is a guy. I went, studying the subject. I went through the, different articles, and I found ultimately a guy who seems to be in charge of things. Is the founder and director of a Mexican movement, an organizer of this native opposition, which is called Olinteotlipoca, and he was just saying that. Actually, while we're going on the air now, he's been actually guested by Al Jazeera. Because Al Jazeera wants to know it directly from them, from the native Indians, what they think about it. And I didn't see any U.S. media doing this. So, of course, this is a subject that I might also discuss later on also with Alex on InfoWars, because I think it's very interesting that the media are completely silent in the US about this thing, because, of course, here we are talking, Jimmy, and this, of course, is very interesting, I think, also for your listeners, because you are in the US. We are talking here about creating a saint who is the patron, is going to be the patron of America, of the U.S. He's going to be the patron. I mean, it's a big thing, It's not just a small little. Junipero Serra is the patron now, after his sanctification, of America. Do you know that?
Yes.
Well, and being patron of America, he established itself by the myth that these, Jesuits and the whole Vatican has created as some kind of extension of Our Lady of Guadalupe.
Right.
And I mean, this whole setup, I'm sorry to say, of course, I don't want to offend any Mexicans or any Latin Americans. I mean, I'm Latin myself. I couldn't offend. I mean, there is little to offend here. I'm not a wasp. I'm not talking you and I have blonde hair and blue eyes. So, guys, let's be honest with each other. No? So basically, and by the way, my grandfather was born in South America, in Chile, and actually the house of my family, the Lion family in Chile, is now a monastery, a Catholic monastery, because unfortunately, being of such a Catholic family, we even donate, not that they need the Vatican to have donate buildings, and stuff, but this is what happens with the aristocratic families. We donate a lot to the church. So basically, this is a lobbying made by the Knights of Columbus. And we saw yesterday, I think that today, I don't know now the time frame you are in because I'm a bit confused, but there was this canonization of Junipero Serra, no? So you have the start of the ritual, the whole thing. And of course, we have the Knights of Columbus coming in. And not many people know that Jeb Bush is one, the main protagonist of this knighthood order.
That's right.
And Carl Anderson, and so this is very important to know, has been lobbying for having Serra as a saint for a long time inside the church. So there is this internal, let's say, this internal lobbying, this crafting of a saint that is definitely not a saint, and all of this is done strategically for a goal, which is ultimate to satisfy, the Knights in the U.S., the Knights of Columbus. They are called Knights of Columbus for a reason, and give them the possibility now to really establish the Catholic faith as the number one faith in the U.S. I know that it might sound strange for a lot of Protestant people out there in the U.S. and a lot of people from other Catholic denominations. But I can tell you one thing, honestly. There is not anymore any Christian denominations. They are all being infiltrated, they are all manipulated, and they're all fitting in this new world order setup. So basically, you can oppose the Pope officially, maybe in front of your congregation or whatever you have. You're a Baptist, you're this, you're that. But at the end, you will be always under the Vatican and under the Pope, if you are a Christian. Of course, not if you are a Jew, but in that case, you work together with the Pope. I invite Sergius and people out there who are interested in the subject to study the close relation that Pope Francis has with the B'nai B'rith.
Why? There's one I have to ask. I thought that to become a saint, you had to perform a verified miracle. Right? Right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know that these people, when they don't have a miracle, they pull one out of the thing like it is some kind of trick in Las Vegas.
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
Like it is a bunny coming out of an illusionist head. I mean, so it's not difficult for them to do that. They always find somebody who was sick and suddenly was not sick, somebody who went and suddenly saw something and they say, okay, it's been Serra, it was Junipero Serra who saved that. I find very insulting, really, against the Native American Indians, the fact that the Vatican, I don't know if you assisted to this mass, but it's very important also that we comment on what really went on in these last few hours in America, so people have a closer understanding of things. They opened the lectures of the Bible with a lecture in Native American Indian. So not only the Native American Indians got tortured, got this and got that, but now at the nomination of a saint who, of course, used them as slaves, treated them in the worst way possible, this guy had to read a prayer in Native American Indian. And I invite you to go and actually see that prayer if it's still available, maybe on a video clip on YouTube or something, because the guy who is reading it is not really convinced about the whole thing. You can visibly see that he's not really like the other readers, And this whole show of putting a Native American Indian reading, a lecture from the Bible at the proclamation, at the canonization of Serra is completely sickening, because everybody else in the Native American community has condemned this.
And the other part is, he literally forced them to become Catholics.
Absolutely. Yeah. And now I think that all this canonization of a Serra demonstrates to us, what kind of example can this give to the Catholic flock or to the world in general? I mean, it gives an example of somebody who says, either you accept this religion or either you are out of the picture. So basically, by doing this symbolically, Pope Francis is supporting a way of being a missionary, which is definitely not the way of the saint he's pictured out to be, the all-encompassing and compassionate Pope Francis. Because Pope Francis, we have to be honest, in the early 70s, he was a fascist. He was a real big-time fascist. In the young groups, he used to be around in Argentina, and of course, he became a Jesuit. He rise through the Jesuit hierarchy very fast. He became the head for Argentina. At that point, of course, in the Society of Jesus hierarchy, you have a communistic view of things. You have to be very communist. That's why, now they go hand in hand even with the liberation theology, while at that time also there were these two priests who were trying to help poor people, as Jesuits really do, of course, a lot of evil, but at the same time, at the lower level Jesuits, the ones that really are in contact with the people, at times do a lot of good things. You have to be honest also about what they do, but these are little, they're not like high in the hierarchy. They were just two simple priests. These two simple priests in the favelas get in trouble because the government says they're being too communistic. They're being dangerous. They kind of have, their ideology is clearly Marxist. Can you please, close an eye and we're going to arrest and torture them? And Pope Francis did that in his capacity as the head of the Argentinian Company of Jesus. And by doing that, he got a lot of people against him, even within his own order of the Jesuits, because he was supporting a fascist government. Why did he support a fascist government, and why now he is such a communist? Well, if you have time, I can explain you all this. What happened was that at that time, in charge of the fascist government, which was in charge in Argentina, which also brought Argentina, as we know, in war in the Falkland Islands, with the Falkland Islands affair with the UK, no?
Right.
And basically the heads of state, the heads of the military, the heads of the whole thing, were all members of the P2. the P2 lodge with ramifications, as we know, that go all the way back to Rome and to the Vatican.
That's right.
So basically, at one point, after 6 months that these two priests were in this island of silence, there is this journalist that calls it the island of silence. What was the island of silence? This journalist, Orazio Verbischi, has been denouncing Pope Francis for many years, even before he was Pope. And he denounced this in a book called The Island of Silence. But what was this island of silence? Basically, the Vatican had an island in Argentina. This island was literally given to the Argentinian dictatorship so they could use it for torturing people. And these Jesuits were kept these two Jesuits that were arrested. And of course, nothing was done by Pope Francis to stop their arrest. And the interesting thing is that I published on my book, Pope Francis, The Last Pope Question, a document signed by Pope Francis that demonstrates once and for all his involvement in this really bad affair. Because then these two Jesuits were liberated after 6 months. And of course, they started to be quite angry in the following years against what was then Bergoglio, Mario Bergoglio, this high-level Jesuit. And in fact, one of them never really, I think, went back to the Jesuit order. The other one instead went back to the Jesuit order. But both of these characters started, a campaign against Bergoglio by, saying that the guy was actually participated in a way to the fact that they were kidnapped. And in the end, this whole thing went on until even Pope Bergoglio was nominated Pope, because one of these two guys, he actually was received by Pope Francis because this particular event in his adventurous life as a Jesuit was pretty dangerous also for his sainthood as a pope. They had to convince this guy to basically stay silent had done to him. And in a way, I guess they convinced him. But these two guys called Orlando Iorio and Francisco Yalix and the life of these two priests is quite incredible after what happened there. And in a way, I invite a lot of researchers to go and study it because, unfortunately, even the books of Orazio Verbischi or his investigations in this matter have never really been published in the English language. And so people really don't know this side of this evil side of Pope Bergoglio in Argentina, because even not so long ago, the families of the victims, of the many victims, the desaparecidos, the whole problem that there was in Argentina at that time, it was a very big problem because thousands of people literally disappeared from one day to the other.
Yes.
And they were called the desaparecidos. Well, the Pope apparently was involved in this whole thing, as I said. He apart from these two priests, there was an involvement, him closing an eye many times on these tortures, on these things that went on during this fascist dictatorship. So he's definitely no saint, this Pope. Let's make it clear. I hope that this clarifies a little bit the matter for you and makes you understand that he has a dark past. And the fact that I was able to actually find a document and put it on my book that demonstrates that he has this dark past, I think should make people realize here we're not talking about some kind of speculation about if the guy is good or if he's not good, this and that. No, here we have evidence that connect dots and bring directly this Pope to be something that is definitely negative for us who were born within the Catholic faith. I myself don't consider myself a Catholic any longer, but of course I was born within the Catholic faith. If I had to consider myself still something, I would say probably I am a conservative preconsulary Catholic, or maybe, somebody who, like those Catholics, empty seat Catholics, like Mel Gibson's father. I will be closer to that kind of religious setup because I don't believe that the Vatican after 1958 has any real Christianity within the fold. It's just more and more showing their mondialism. And of course, now that you have the Jesuit Pope, this whole thing comes in the open. I mean, there in the US, he is tolerating everything and anything. He is not really saying anything against abortion. He's not really condemning what's been happening with these fetuses and the terrible use that that is being exposed in the US media. He's not about the terrorists. Have you noticed? He's not saying anything about the fact that ISIS has threatened him 1 million times.
Right. I find that
sickening.
Leo, the Vatican has some of the most extreme security. They have agents, they have spies, they have police, they have an army, they have everything. Why are you still alive?
Well, this is a great question, and many people tend to make a joke out of it.
I'm not making
No. I mean, not you, but many people out there on the internet, especially after they saw the documentary of me and Alex together, say, how can this guy be still alive after he says all this? Well, I tell you, first of all, as I explained you at the beginning of this show, when I came up on your show, I said, if we did it in a different way, probably we will not be able to do this documentary, because they will have probably arrest us as soon as they spotted the first filming of it. So we had to take a lot of precautions. And I myself, I'm still alive for a simple reason. I have an order. This order was constituted in 1999 within the Monte Carlo Lodge of the P2. It's called the Ordo Illuminatorum Universalis. And as I mentioned also earlier, in 2008 I brought out this setup completely. In 2006 already I brought it out in a way, but in 2008 it was officialized that the Ordo Illuminatorum Universalis was brought out of the Monte Carlo Lodge setup back to Rome with me. It was a creation of mine, so I brought it out of the fold. And those Freemasons and Knights and people that have been loyal to me since then are the ones who are protecting me. Because I basically come out in the open. But at that point, they started to attack me. So the only way I can defend myself is to have a secret structure, just as the one of the enemy, that can protect me. This secret structure, my order, is that it's an official also association. We are recognized by the state, because in Italy, by law, after the P2 scandal, we are obliged to follow every secret society has to be registered with the state, otherwise we get busted after 2 seconds. I know secret society registered with the state sounds a little bit funny for an American or for an English speaking, but because you don't have this problem I mean, if you have to follow the law, probably you will have it in certain states, because when you meet with more than 12 people, you have to start respecting certain laws. But in any case, my secret society, it's born out of my books, out of the amounts of material which I have put together during my years within also the various secret societies, and it's made to preserve my knowledge, even if I got killed. Because the moment I get killed, there is a series of brothers in my order that will bring out the information which I have still maybe, retained for me, but in any case, the information that is in my books is available out there, but maybe the one that still has to come out in the next books. And so they can kill me, of course they can kill me. And it's a dangerous thing, to do what I do. But in any case, my information will not be stopped, because it's being deposited in the hands of the other brothers of the order, and to kill in the order is impossible, because we operate just as them, with secrecy, with initiations, with oaths. So it's not an easy, an easy thing to understand how we operate. Just as we know how they operate, because I was in it. So, I have the historian point of view of all these secret societies. I know how they operate. I know the systems of it, and that's why. In January, when Confessions 1 comes out, it will be another shocking element in this puzzle for all of you in the English language, because this book has created in Italy, when it came out in 2012 the first time, literally a revolution within Freemasonry.
Can you tell me about your 33 degree ring? Are you wearing it now?
Well, I don't wear it when I go to sleep. Usually I find it comfortable because I have already another 2 rings. I have, of course, my wedding ring, and then I have my family ring, and it's already 2 rings. I don't think you can go to sleep with 3 rings. I mean, it's a bit too much. But let's say I have it often with me. I regard the fact that I reached the 35th degree. I was given this degree, first honorary, then I also was part of a Supreme Council back in the days. But now I'm not active any longer in Freemasonry, as most Freemasons know. At least in the regular lodges, I've not been active since 2005, 2006, and even in the regular lodge, because if I went into the fold back into Freemasonry these days, unfortunately, every time I go to a lodge, it becomes a political thing, because Leo Zagami now is exposing the system, and I can't be subject to any Grandmaster rules. You understand?
Yes.
So I prefer to be independent. Of course, the good thing is, like you say, but Leo, how can you know everything that is going on if you don't go back into the lodges? Well, my dear friends, that's why I have my order. I have Freemasons of the highest degrees that are members of my order, that are infiltrated in all the lodges and report directly to me. I know that many people who will be listening say, but your methods are mafiosi, your methods are just like the Illuminati methods. Of course, guys. I mean, do you think that I would be just an idiot coming out with information and getting killed? Well, I have assassins myself that are ready to defend me, security people that are really hardcore. Because if you are playing with an enemy that's hardcore, you just have to be just as hardcore as them. You can't just, come out. I mean, I'm not just a journalist that brings out information. Of course, I am also an author and a journalist. But at times, I get really involved with things. People, in the Vatican or around the Vatican, I showed Alex, what kind of people give me information on stuff for the involvement with certain things. It's very dangerous. So if you don't have a defense system, you will be killed. It's not, it's really a war here, and I have been, my wife knows very well. I had police breaking into my house at 9 o'clock in the morning, breaking down the door, picking me up with no reason, bringing me, so they can really abuse you if you don't have a good defense system. In my order, I have lawyers, I have security advisors, I have policemen, I have military. Here we're talking about fighting a system, and you can't just fight it as a journalist. You have to have a system to protect you from these. These are criminals, man. The New World Order is a criminal establishment, and that's why now we have to fight them with the information, but at the same time we have to also be ready, to defend ourselves in any way possible, because it's a dangerous situation, but I don't want to perish with them. They tortured me enough in the past. They arrested me for espionage in Norway. They got me tortured. They did a lot of things that are not legal. Under international law, some of the things that they did, I should bring them at The Hague. I said that many times. If I had the money, I would probably do that. But it costs a lot of money to bring people to The Hague. It's not just, and even lawyers, they give their availability, but they can't spend, the whole time just in dealing with your cases for free.
Right.
So, bringing to The Hague, I should bring to The Hague the Norwegian government. I should bring to The Hague the Turkish government. I should bring to The Hague many different. The Italian government has done many things that are completely wrong against me. I have denounced them on the Italian media also. But it's definitely true that the system is against me, because the moment in which, imagine this, I am nobody when I came back here in Italy. I was nobody because I lived 15 years abroad, When I was forced to come back in Italy in 2008, 2009 because of the espionage accusation in Norway, I had to suddenly come back to Italy, okay? I haven't been in Italy since 1994, okay? So pretty long time abroad, around the world, okay? Doing different things. And when I was back here in Italy, I found myself with this accusation of espionage meant I didn't have any money because all my money, all my assets, everything was frozen for 2 years. Until 2010,
right.
So I didn't have a job because they wouldn't let me work anything. They had closed down my business. They basically had frozen all my assets. So I found myself in a very difficult situation here back in Italy. And at that point, I decided that maybe the confessions on the internet were not the most secure thing because they kept on closing my sites, picking up articles, manipulating them, doing all kinds of things. So that's why at one point I decided the only way to fight the system is to actually put everything on paper. The evidence, the documents, the experiences, the witness, and fight the system really by demonstrating that what they're doing is not only wrong, but also showing the people that there is a secret network and proving it beyond what I do in my books. I don't know if you noticed by reading Pope Francis, The Last Pope, which is the first book in the English language, is that I'm very detailed with citations, with everything that is said, because, as I told you also before, the Italian law is very strict with defamation. You can say a little thing and they immediately sue you, and basically even a journalist can get arrested here in Italy for saying things.
Right.
So you have to be very detailed and you can't talk any rubbish. Here, if you say, that guy from the Vatican called X and Y, he goes to that and picks up little kids, if it's not demonstrated, you get the police and the day after and they will arrest you, man.
Well,
so,
LeoZagami.com is down right now, too. Why?
It's been hijacked. It's been hijacked by somebody actually in California.
Oh.
Somebody who used to work for the Pentagon, and a guy called Scott Bruno, who lives not far from, I think, San Francisco, somewhere in the Northern California. And this guy basically, he just hijacked the site, probably on behalf of the military-industrial complex, and we have difficulty now in getting a new website up for the moment. But I mean, we're working on it. I think, like I told you before, after my experiences especially between 2006 2008, my first experiences on the internet were not so nice, right. And no, because I had in Norway in 2006, after I started my first blog, I had the intelligence and the police, secret police, the PST in Norway coming to my door, breaking into my house and threatening what was then my ex-wife and the kid I had and everything, threatened to bring me away the kids if I didn't stop this blog. Literally something that is completely against any form of democracy in the West, especially in a country like Norway. You will not imagine that they are such a Nazi fascist, in the year 2006. But that's what they did. They came and they literally had the courage to threaten me, policemen saying, you have to shut your blog, you have to stop your information, And when in 2008, unfortunately, they finally managed to corrupt my now ex-wife and offering her probably money, job, and all other things, she was corrupted. But at the same time, she got me accused of espionage. I got in very serious trouble at that time. So they kept on closing websites, and that meant, I think that the digital information, what you get online, is great, but is also very labile, very fragile, is not as tough as a book. A book stays made of paper. A book stays that stands the test of time better than any computer, any digital information, I'm sorry to say.
A couple of quick questions. One, when the Pope got off the plane yesterday, he took his hat off. Why did he do that?
Well, he takes his hat hat off and on. That is, he has different also kind of hats that he has to put on. I don't know if you noticed that. Also, when during the ceremonies that he does. No, he has somebody that puts one thing, takes off the other. He has like we know on his head always this thing which is like the one worn by the Jewish
a yarmulke, yarmulke,
which of course is always there, and his coming into the U.S. And doing such a move was a little bit communist, to say the least. Is because he's taking his hat off in a way. This, for the people who know about these kind of things, it symbolizes that he's not really the divine Pope that people think he is. He's just a man like another who takes his hat off and says, "Chapeau, I'm in the U.S." kind of thing. You understand?
Yes, I do.
But this is not something that a past Pope will ever have done. Because of the divinity that the office of Pope had until he arrived. Because, as I said in the past, the fact that Ratzinger destroyed the divinity of the office of the Pope in a way, and made him more of a regular man, so to speak.
Do you have a Twitter account, by the way?
I have a Facebook, which is called Leo Lion Zagami in America. People can sign on to it. It's the best way to really keep up with what I'm doing. I don't use Twitter for a very specific reason, and I want to tell you this, and also to the your listeners, that Twitter is full of paid trolls.
Yes, it sure is.
And on the contrary of Facebook, where you relatively have a little bit of control over it, on Twitter is impossible.
Yes.
So they suggested me, people in the intelligence actually suggested me not to have any Twitter accounts because I would be too fragile, I would be basically under attack all the time, and that will not really be anything positive because already there's been so much misinformation given about Leo Zagami. The good thing nowadays is that I have 5 books coming out in the English language. One already came out, and I tell you, when these books will come out, you will be probably calling me again because there is also a lot of material regarding also the UFO phenomena under a different point of view, under a totally different perspective from what you're used to.
Well, let's talk about that. There is so much. Excuse me, hold on. Had to use my cough button. There's so much out there right now about the Vatican and what they know about ET. They certainly have enough telescopes and observatories around the globe. What is it that they know that they're not telling us?
There is a lot that they don't tell us because in charge of all of it, there is, as usual, the Order of the Jesuits. You know that the astronomy section of the Vatican is under their control. This is official. It's not like I'm saying some big conspiracy news here. No, it's right. Official. The Jesuits are in charge of the astronomical, of everything to do with outer space, with the telescopes of the Vatican, with the Holy See has the Jesuits as the main scientists. Of course, the Jesuits in the last few years have opened up this possibility to the Catholic flock that the aliens exist. And why they did that? Simply for making this more acceptable, because you can't just give some information out from one day to the other, because it will put into discussion the whole Jesus Christ, the savior of the universe kind of thing, the center of the universe and whatever. So what they are doing also is, I think in a way also instrumental to their New Age, embracing their New Age creed, because you see the Jesuits in the last 100 years have infiltrated every New Age cult in the world. New Age was created within Freemasonry, as we know. Within the Scottish Rite, there was actually a magazine for the United States jurisdiction, the Northern jurisdiction, I think, if I don't get it wrong, called New Age.
That's right.
And basically, then within the Theosophical Society, this New Age also expanded with, of course, Madame Blavatsky. She created the Theosophical Society. But soon after she created the Theosophical Society, it was infiltrated by the Jesuits. And Madame Blavatsky herself was the first one to warn about the Jesuits. She wrote literally hundreds of pages to warn her followers, but nobody listened. And the moment she was dead, the day after, the society was immediately taken over by the Jesuits. Mm-hmm. So Neo-Theosophy became then the guiding force of what is now the United Nations. What is the Alice, was the Lucifer Trust, the Alice Bailey, the whole thing, also with Neo-Theosophy that then expanded into Benjamin Cream announcing the Maitreya from the 70s. All of this is part of the same path that was secretly crafted by the Jesuits. So you are there thinking you are embracing some New Age cult that has nothing to do with the Vatican, nothing to do with the Jesuits, and you're thinking you are opposing the world or doing something of a choice which comes in with the age of Aquarius and all this rubbish, not knowing that basically the age of Aquarius is being crafted by the Jesuits. They were behind New Age involvement even by infiltrating. Even Rudolf Steiner, who was a very good guy at one point because he understood the manipulation that was going on, he also got infiltrated. His organization, every single organization that, even from the most remote guru in the East that arrived into the West, has been infiltrated by the Jesuits. So that's why it's very important also what's happening at the United Nations building with the Pope the day tomorrow now, the 25th in the US. So it's very important because the egregor resides in that meditation room. You know a bit about the meditation room?
I sure do. Yes.
Well, imagine that every pope who has visited the United Nations building has always gone to this meditation room, even for a few minutes. But that's the place where you direct the egregor of the New World Order, in a way. There is a very powerful stone there. I don't know if you know how the setup was built, actually by the second Secretary General, who died also in mysterious circumstances, by the way.
Yes.
And so this whole thing means that the Pope is literally giving a blessing on the tomorrow for Agenda 2030. And he's blessing all the leaders of state of the world will come in one after the other after the blessing of the Pope, and some of them will be already there tomorrow with the Pope starting from tomorrow, because then they kick off their own meeting, The Pope gives them the blessing, the Jesuits give the blessing to this whole thing, put the flag of the Vatican over the United Nations building for the first time in history, and at that point the whole meeting kicks off with all the world leaders. And, you're going to hear about it in the next few days, what happens, of course, with this gathering. But the New World Order setup, the stage now is evident to even the most, skeptic out there, I think. 10 years ago when I came up with this information, Jimmy, especially when me and Greg Zismansky started to put together the dots around 2006, my first articles, my blog got picked up also by David Icke. I was really risking much more than I'm risking now, because these things were unheard of. The fact that there is pedophile rings in the Vatican that are active, this and that, it was unheard of. I even had to, my poor father who died in 2010, I remember just a week maybe before he died, he was like, Leo, you have to be careful, accusing the Pope, it was Ratzinger at that time, of being gay. This is very dangerous, what you're doing, blah, blah, blah. Because, there was a lot of fear. Now it's in the open. Now Ratzinger had to actually resign because the Jesuit made him resign, because the church was going to hell, because it was evident. One scandal after the other erupted, proving what I said for many years. And, at that point, of course, even within the Vatican, some people like the Dominican order got close to me and said, well, Leo, we have to admit, there's been a lot of criticism, but what you are doing is putting us in front of our sins. And this is not criticizable, even for them, because when you're doing something like this, you start to go in a realm which is considered to be different from ordinary realm of things, because you're doing the holy work. You are putting in front of their sins in front of their face and saying, this is how it is, you have to do something about it.
Allison just tweeted, I think you kind of freaked people out about Blavatsky, and she said, so ask if the Law of One books are Jesuit.
Everything that came out of the Theosophical movement after the death of Blavatsky is being Jesuit-driven. Wow. Every single text.
Wow.
Yeah. So I know that for a lot of people, this is hard to, it's a disappointment at times. Me, myself, I used to hang out at the Theosophical, I think it was the Pasadena branch in London a lot back in the days, maybe 15, 20 years ago. And there were some nice, old people, most of them, some of them young, discussing some interesting topics. But of course, there is been an infiltration in every side of the Theosophical Society to in a way make it not a threat anymore to the Church, because the way in which immediately after the death of Blavatsky they started to insert the Jesus Christ element predominantly. And some Christians will say, well, that's good, finally they start talking about Jesus, this theosophical, they were talking about some Eastern religion, the Hindu, right. Now talking about Jesus, that's good. Well, guys, I don't know if it's good, because their version of Jesus has nothing to do with the real Jesus, and it's more of a Maitreya, it's more of an Antichrist coming here, an all-embracing of what? I mean, there is a lot that we don't know about, about the Jesuits, but for sure, Kot Umi, that was the master of Elena Petrovna Blavatsky. Kot Umi, who was this hidden master, the secret chief, which gave, those distinctive phrases that were published in the letters to the Mahatma or the letters to the masters of conscience. Well, I mean, Kot Umi warned very much about the Jesuits. And this, actually, the only theosophical group still living these days that denounces this is not any of the theosophical branches, the society, is the United Lodge of Theosophists. Those are the only ones who have denounced the Jesuit infiltration very strongly. And they are probably the only ones who are still trying to oppose it, while the other ones have just given into it, and and basically, Alice Bailey is complete rubbish. I mean, you have Besant, of course, that brought into the fold then Krishnamurti, and then Krishnamurti refused the fact that he was the Messiah. I mean, you see in front of our eyes what kind of experiments were done, no? But Blavatsky explained that the Jesuits work to destroy the potential of any spiritual movement, infiltrating it and gradually making it weaker. This is not my words, these are the works of Blavatsky. So those theosophies that think that Leadbeater, Bailey or Besant are not Jesuits, agents, well, they are just eluding themselves. So I think that the Theosophic researcher Morten Sufilite, who wrote this extensive article on Alice Bailey, he proved that the husband of Alice Bailey, Foster Bailey, used to be in direct contact with the Jesuits through Freemasonry. And I mean, in the book The Trial of the Sun Initiate, H.P. Blavatsky said that the Jesuits were basically using Freemasonry in order to then manipulate some New Age cults and various branches. It's quite interesting that 100 years ago, the Ordo Templi Orientis, which, as you know, welcomed into their fold Aleister Crowley, who then took over the whole show, the Ordo Templi Orientis was heavily infiltrated by the Jesuits. But anything at that time that came up from the Theosophical Societies, and there was a lot of orders that really sprang up of the Theosophical Society kind of circuit au milieu, no? They were all infiltrated.
What about Freemasons in general? Also an infiltration there?
Freemasons in general, you see, Freemasonry is guided by those people who really know the system and who are very few in reality. And those people are usually involved in occultism, in theosophy, and so at that point they will automatically, when they are in the higher level of the system of Freemasonry, high level meaning the knowledge, the rites of Freemasonry and so on, they will be automatically connected at one point or the other with the Jesuits, especially if they are in Latin countries, because in Anglo-Saxon countries there were, for example in the USA, there is this very predominant WASP community within certain states of Freemasonry. It seems like you have less Jesuitry in the US than you have in South America. It's unheard of that officially Jesuits visit lodges of Freemasons in the US, while instead it's not unheard of in South America, in Brazil, in Argentina. So there is also different kind of Freemasonry, because Freemasonry has really two different and distinct traditions in their fold. One is the more Jacobite tradition, and the other one is the more Hanoverian. The Hanover is the other name that now we know is the ruling family of the United Kingdom. The Hanoverian became the Windsor. So these two different, let's say, ramifications of Freemasonry. One rules the order. That's the Windsor. That's the Duke of Kent, which is the cousin of the Queen.
Right.
And then instead, the Jesuits seem to be much more influential within the continental, the Jacobite Freemasonry, which of course gave birth after to the ancient and accepted Scottish Rite, and so to the higher degrees. It's also true, though, like even Blavatsky said, that at that time, when Blavatsky was, of course, talking, we know that there was the Golden Dawn. No? We were at the end of a century that saw the birth of the Golden Dawn. We had, well, she said that at that time, let's say in the 1880s, if we want to, well, she died, that was 1875, she founded this Theosophical Society, but in the 1880s probably it was the moment in which the Theosophical Society was really rising. She said that at that time the Jesuits had actually also moved a lot to London, and they had also created a very solid structure in England because the English were very weak towards the Jesuit infiltration. That's what Blavatsky denounced. And you know, of course, that this means that maybe we have some infiltration of Freemasonry made by the Jesuits that is still not known to historians because we don't have any information of it. But Blavatsky said that the Jesuits in a big number were infiltrating in the 1880s, in that period, English Freemasonry. And also the aristocracy even. She pointed out on the rich aristocrats that were joining the Jesuit creed.
Let's take a quick break right there. That's a good place to take a break. This is Fade to Black, bespoke radio for the masses. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, Leo Zagami is live from Rome, Italy, and I'm wondering where my music is. It is not playing. I think... the Vatican is interrupting our show. Oh, there we go. We got it, Leo. Stay right there. This is Jimmy Church. This is Fade to Black on the Game Changer Network and KGRA The Planet. We'll be back more with Leo Zagami right after this. Stay with us.
Hi, everybody. This is Rob Halford, the Metal Guard on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
KGRA Radio. Intelligent talk.
Are you a paranormal investigator, ghost hunter, or UFO skywatcher? If so, FNGinnovations.com has the product you definitely need in your investigations kit or go bag. Introducing the Morpholite Wide Beam Tactical Flashlights that put the light where you need it most. Traditional flashlights shine a focused round beam with limited line of sight in the dark. Morpholite Tactical Flashlights change all that, utilizing a revolutionary wide beam design to enable you to see safety hazards such as hanging wires and steel, pipes, and holes in the floor you just can't see with a focused round beam. In the field, where safety is paramount, a 180-degree beam increases orientation and peripheral vision in the dark. Morpholite flashlights are ideal for investigations in abandoned facilities such as houses and hospitals, factories, caves, and tunnels. Avoid those low-hanging tree branches that poke your eyes in the woods. Visit FNGinnovations.com to see a full line of tactical lights and accessories. That's FNGinnovations.com.
Now you can find all your favorite talk radio shows live, all in one place at TalkStreamLive.com. Listen from anywhere, office, home, or in your car. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com and click on one of the many live talk show hosts you want to listen to. It's free and easy. No computer? Download the smartphone apps. Never miss your favorite talk show. Find them all at TalkStreamLive.com.
Hey everybody, what's up? Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and check this out. The 2015 MUFON Symposium will be held this September 24th through the 27th in beautiful downtown Irvine, California. Expanding ufology, opening new doors in academia, industry, and media. Former Defense Minister of Canada Paul Hellyer will be there in person. Former CNN news anchor Cheryl Jones, TV news journalist Jaime Maussan, and MUFON's chief photo analyst Mark D'Antonio. They're just a few of the growing list of names for the 2015 event. It's September 24th through the 27th at the beautiful Hotel Irvine. Get your tickets today at MUFONSymposium.com. That's MUFONSymposium.com. Go Beckley Tepe.
You want to know a secret? I love ponies. I really love ponies. I'm serious. I couldn't stay sane without ponies to brush.
Why fade to black? Because you never got that pony. Damn
it. This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. This is bespoke radio for the masses. Truly. On the Game Changer Network and KGRA The Planet. Follow us on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Email is jimmy@jimmychurchradio.com. Leo, I was just thinking during the break, with each pope that is brought in, are they automatically a member of the Illuminati? You know, is there a direct tie right there? Are they exposed to what the Illuminati's agenda is?
We can say that after 1958, it became kind of obligatory for the Pope to be tied into this system. Before 1958, before the Second World War erupted, and before everything that happened after that, and the arrival of the US and England into the Vatican, things were different, because 100 years ago, for example, there was somebody who was actually in the line of succession of the papal lineage. I mean, he was a cardinal who was about to become pope, who was actually stopped by I think it was the Kaiser, who stopped because he was a Freemason. He was also a member of the Illuminati, and they stopped the election of this guy because it wasn't suitable for at that time. Well, instead things changed after 1958, and it became kind of obligatory to be a Freemason. And then when it wasn't obligatory anymore to be a Freemason, you had to, in any case, be close to the system or part of it or familiarize with it, like Pope Francis did in the 80s when he familiarized with the P2 system that helped him after escalate the ladder to become Pope. Of course, at the beginning, he went against his own communistic creed, but later on, like we are seeing now, he's not only embracing it, but he's promoting it around the world. And this also inside the P2 Lodge, I noticed this, because Licio Gelli was very proud of his fascist background. I'm talking about the worship master of the P2 Lodge, you remember Licio Gelli. And then in the last few years, he's been, though, collaborating with the so-called Democrats, left-wingers, and so on. So this seems to be a worldwide agenda, which the communist agenda suits is the agenda of the New World Order.
With the Georgia Guidestones and the other agendas with the Illuminati and population control and is
well, it's very important. We have Agenda 21 that now, in fact, from the 25th will be developed even further with Agenda 2030. So there is also, we are literally seeing now in the coming days a transformation of this agenda, which will be made after public with some new rules. So these new rules are implementing one by one those fears that we had for many years in regards to the New World Order.
So are you suggesting that not only with Agenda 21, but the basic philosophy of what the Illuminati is trying to do right now, everything is hand in hand and lockstep with the Vatican?
I mean, you are saying that the Illuminati, the Pope has to be an Illuminati. Well, this Pope is a Jesuit. The Jesuit is even more than an Illuminati, because Illuminati are agents of the Jesuits, not vice versa.
Right.
So, I mean, of course, they are agents also of the Zionists, because, like I said before, check out the connection between B'nai B'rith, which, as you know, is an exclusively Masonic organization for Jewish people, which exists now since I think also the 1880s. But in any case, the history of B'nai B'rith brings us to see that Pope Francis, when he goes to Argentina, he goes directly into the B'nai B'rith lodge and he gets surrounded by them. And it becomes like a lodge meeting in a way. And this also, they have even a nickname for the Pope within the Jewish flock, the Jewish tradition, the B'nai B'rith tradition, because he is seen as Aaron, like he's part of this whole show. So they're all in it together, these people. And their agenda, as I said before, is the one-world religion. Then we will have the enslavement of mankind with microchipping. That is the ultimate stage. But before getting to that stage, there will be, of course, wars. There will be, of course, viruses. There will be things that, in the end, will force us to accept this microchipping for our own security.
And what about the Vatican and Hollywood, Leo? Are they that strong? Can they control what Hollywood decides to release as a film?
Hollywood is more in the hands of their Jewish allies than it is, as you know, in the hands of the Vatican. The Vatican is something that, of course, the Vatican supervises things. It can maybe influence a specific movie, but it can't influence in the same extent that the Jewish brothers do. So, and of course, you have also other sects that are in the hands, though, of the Jesuits that influence Hollywood, like Scientology.
Okay.
Scientology is very powerful and is very much linked also with the Jesuits.
Yeah, I don't even like saying that word on the air, Scientology. I don't want any issues.
Can't hear you.
Yeah. You can't hear me? Okay.
Yes, now I can hear you.
Okay, good. What I said was I don't even like to say Scientology on the air. I don't want any issues with those guys.
Well, I mean, you see, Leo Zagami is somebody that fights everybody without having any fear.
Right,
so,
right.
You see, in my exposure of the New World Order, Scientology has their own part and has a very distinctive part also when it comes down to the UFO disclosure, because it's connected to Jack Parsons, to what happened with the first lodge of the OTO that then got moved directly from Hollywood to where the observatory in the Mount Palomar Observatory, where Adamski then saw the UFOs. But that used to be that observatory at OTO, Ordo Templi Orientis Lodge.
That's right. Yes, and okay, listen, I'm going to announce to the audience now. I'm going to ask some very sensitive questions. If you have any children present and you don't want to go into, you don't want them exposed to what I'm about to mention, because this is a family show. But I have to ask a couple of things about the issues that I don't think this Pope is directly addressing or doing about, and that is the problems with the priest and young children and the charges.
Hello?
That I'm still here. Okay, it appears that Leo cannot hear me, but I can hear him.
I can hear you at times. I think that when we start talking about certain issues, really we might have some problems on Skype. because
and we expect that.
Yeah.
Why doesn't the Vatican prosecute and put in jail these sex offenders? Why is this just swept under the table?
Because there is too much money, especially in the U.S., that the Vatican should give to the victims. And this money will actually, they have calculated this whole thing, and basically they will go bankrupt. So they try to sweep it under the carpet in one way or the other, though it's not going to be so easy. And there is a movie also coming out on the Boston scandal, a very high-profile movie made in Hollywood that's been presented recently here in the Venice Festival that will stir up a lot of interest. This problem is also interconnected with the pedophile rings are interconnected with Satanism. So you're not only touching on a perversion, but you're talking about pedophile satanic rings, which have then, of course, links with the Illuminati satanic realm, which is very strong. And that realm is made of untouchables that, of course, you can try to investigate, but they will be very difficult to investigate. I mean, nobody investigates Bill Clinton. We all know that he went to the island with the little girls underage. Did anybody say anything? Did anybody saying anything that Hillary Clinton is running for president and her husband was involved in pedophilia? Nobody. So.
But we know that this is the part that I'm fascinated with the most. We know about the accusations, we know about the victims, we know who the perpetrators were.
No, but it's even more extensive than that. I mean, here in Italy, maybe you don't know certain things, and in fact, my books my book Pope Francis the Last Pope to really give you a lot of information that is not out in the international press. We have a scandal a day here. At one point, at the beginning of this year, we even have videos of priests making love with each other and involving, within a church. And with little kids all the time. There is a video of 3 hours made of a priest abusing of a 13-year-old child on an Italian beach. That is available. If you go and search on the internet, you can find the whole thing. Not that the video is available because it's in the hands of the police, but the scandal has been out in the open here in Italy for a few months. I mean, there is a whole range of scandals that you don't even imagine. I mean, you think that the ones in Boston are bad? They only scratch the surface, those people, because these pedophile rings are all interconnected. So it's not only the Catholic pedophile ring we are talking about here. There is the English pedophile ring that goes right up into the royal house of Windsor with all the people like Jimmy Savile and all those people, and they're interconnected with the Vatican. You have NAMLA and all those people in the US with the people like Michael Aquino that was, for example, accused and never ended up doing any jail sentence because his pedophile ring links all the way to the White House. So here we're talking about a series of pedophile rings. These are dangerous sects, and they are part of the worst side of the so-called Illuminati, what we define as the Illuminati network.
Did you know when you were a member of the Illuminati? Did you hear or witness anything like that going on at that time? And was that part of the reason why you left?
Absolutely, that was part of the reason why I left. I guess that since I was a young kid and I was serving, I was an altar boy. I saw what the priests were doing, so that was no wonder for me. But it was actually a surprise to see that the Illuminati had within their fold at a certain level the Jesuits and the priests of the Catholic Church involved, because at that point I was like, I didn't imagine them to be in that kind of situation, especially in the sexual cults. But then I linked the two things, and suddenly I was like, oh my God, so that's what they were doing, you understand? It kind of like, when I did a specific initiation, I still remember it was around 2000, between 2001 and 2003, I fully realized this whole thing. And it kind of really like, I got disappointed, I got frustrated that some of the people I knew were involved in such things. It was very hard for me because I had to distance myself from a whole world and denounce also people that I knew. I mean, it was very hard on me because then after the first thing they did was to have me locked up. Even before I was accused of espionage and arrested for espionage, I was locked up in a mental asylum by somebody called Nikolai Fritzwold, who used to be in the daytime responsible for this mental asylum structure in Norway, in Oslo, and in the nighttime he was a babalao, and he was a black magician and the head of one of the OTO branches and of many other secret cults. Even worse than that, like the Fraternity Saturni, like the Cultus Sabbati, really evil cults. And what they did was, the first thing was to brand me insane. You understand? To have me branding insane, because that was the best thing for them. And they managed initially to do this, thinking that they got me out of the picture, without imagining that at that point I will retaliate. Because what I did was, I went to my friends then in the Monte Carlo Lodge, which was the lodge that I was connected at that time. And I said, listen, guys, here, we have to do something about it. So what they did, together with the Società Rosicruciana in Anglia, we started an internal investigation within Freemasonry to see the extent of this infiltration and to see if we can get rid of them. But I arrived to one point where I actually knew where the evil was coming from, and I went to my brothers, the ones in the intelligence and military circles, that I thought I could really trust. And I told them, why don't we eliminate these pedophile rings? Why don't we just go and kill the guys? Because these were killers. Here we're talking about people that are killers. I mean, these are intelligence agents which has a license to kill. Okay, so it's not like they're doing an illegal thing. These are official killers. These are killers for the state. They're not like, just seekers for the mafia. These are official people, colonels of the intelligence. They can kill people. And I said, okay, let's get these pedophile ring leaders and bury them alive. This is my wish. I really want to do that. And I talked about it in one of my books about this. That at one point, when I actually had all the evidence, everything, and we actually invited the guy there, one of the guys we thought we could kill, and it would have been a great result killing this guy because he was responsible for so many atrocities, suddenly I saw that these people were actually not really taking the whole thing too seriously, because when they saw that this ring leader had so many connections, they themselves had to back off. And this happened more than once. It happened to another guy I knew that went into the investigation. He was a police guy, though. He was actually a policeman. He went into the investigation of this pedophile ring. When it arrived to such a high level in the Vatican, the superiors just took him off the job. So you see, I, from time to time, get called by the police to supervise on investigating various cult and sects because as an expert, I give my expertise at times. And I'm glad to do that. I'm really glad that I can help at times with this expertise, that I have. I hope help the police. But it's also true that many policemen have to stay silent about what they see. And they can't do anything about it. That's very sad, I think.
This question came in from Thought Shifter, and it's popped up a few times on Twitter. And so we may be backpedaling a little bit, but he says, can you slip in a question about the Jesuits' connection with the Qajar Mafia?
Well, the Qajar Mafia is simply an emanation of that big problem, which is, of course, the Jewish problem, if we take it as a problem because it emanates this Zionist element, which we all dislike. But it's all, of course, part of the same big agenda, which wants, at the end of times, this state of Israel, which was essential for arriving to a prophetic moment in history where we are now, where, everything is being calculated. If the Khazars are part of this plan within the Jewish fold, within they're all part of one single element, one single plan that wants Israel to be surrounded by ISIS, which is a creation of the military-industrial complex, and al-Baghdadi, as I said on the InfoWars show, on the InfoWars documentary, it was initiated in the Alto Pentalpha Lodge, and so it's all part of a very staged choreographed show that slowly is marching towards the inevitable Armageddon scenario. So I don't really want to blame one tribe of the world or the other. I don't have any racistic problems. I think that mankind has to really overcome any form of racism and has to be united against the enemy. The problem is that unfortunately, some races, some tribes, some tribes have corrupted themselves during the course of time. They might be Jewish tribes, they might be whatever tribes. A tribe in the jungle in Africa might have corrupted itself. But unfortunately, in the end, they have all corrupted themselves because they all like to be part of this new world order, which ultimately meets in the United Nations. That's how it is, guys.
Right. Okay, Leo, okay, before we run out of time, I've got to get a couple of important questions in. Number one,
but it is without any doubt, of course, that the Jewish people and the Khazars and they have a specific, maybe role, but everybody has a role in this new world order, and we have to understand simply the roles. We don't have to be sectorial and say these are the only ones to blame, because it's not true. We can't blame Catholics for all the evil in the world. That would be completely wrong, and I don't want to do that myself. But it's true that in the Catholic Church nowadays, unfortunately, the hierarchy and the establishment is completely corrupt. That is true. And so if you follow something that is corrupt and you are not corrupt, well, what's the point?
Leo, you're exactly right. It's some secret room, some boardroom here on planet Earth where they are getting together and discuss. Everybody's represented. You're going to have every single religion and country and bank. Everybody is at the table. There's no doubt about that. No, there's no innocent here. But what is in the Vatican vaults that is so secretive that you and I can't go down there and just go and read and look, and that there's artifacts and sculpture and paintings and what is it that is down there that we can't see? Do they have the true cross down there? You know what I mean? Is it or is there something else that's even more crazier than that maybe there isn't? Or wasn't a true cross? Maybe they're hiding that.
Well, there is much more than that. There is a whole range of artifacts from actually different traditions, which is not only the Christian tradition, because here you are limiting things, but you have to understand that the Jesuits have been collecting artifacts from all kinds of tradition, very powerful ones. And then there is books. There is even a legend legend. It's a legend, but I actually had people reporting to me that this exists, a book in a specific room in the Vatican library, which is actually forbidden to open, because the moment you open it, you actually start seeing things happening around you, because it's literally so powerful what's in that book. Now, this book of power is apparently accessible only to the Pope. Before he becomes Pope, he has access to it. And since, when he knows that he's about to become Pope, he has access to it. So there is definitely an element of mystery when it comes to the knowledge that there is in the vaults of the Vatican. Knowledge is power, as you know. And the Vatican knows this very well. So some of this knowledge will jeopardize immediately their current state of their religious affairs and even of their own religion. So, of course, they want to keep it secret. Anything that is a threat to their religion must be kept secret, even the relation to the aliens, because here we're not talking about a relation that is born in 1946 or 47. There is a relation that the Count of Gabali, which is a text that was cited by Adamski in his first book that he made, I remember that 1953 book, he cited the Count de Gabali. The Count de Gabali is a book that came out of the Jesuits 4 centuries ago, and basically talks about alien abductions and hybrids already 4 centuries ago. So people into the alien myth and whatever, you have to understand that these things go back a long time, and that's why in my books finally I will show that to the English-speaking country with stuff that is not available in the English language, that these things have been going on for a long time, and they not the knowledge of some new age guru or somebody that just came up with hybrids or with the knowledge that men have been crossbreeding with aliens. It's not a new knowledge. This it was known since the ancient times.
Well,
and the Jesuits are very aware.
Are you suggesting that going back to Copernicus and Galileo, that the Vatican already had knowledge of what was going on in the universe, and maybe that's why?
That's why they killed Giordano Bruno. Giordano Bruno, as you know, was killed also for this reason. Not the only reason, but he talked about other worlds, other people, other creatures, other races living in other worlds. This was unheard of, and Giordano Bruno was sent on the stage. Basically, he was cooked.
Right. So why should we believe anything that the Vatican would say today about ET or what's going on in the universe when they've been suppressing knowledge forever?
Yeah, I mean, you should never believe anything that is said by the Vatican. But they have this organization which deals with these matters. It's called CIFAS, which organized these 2 meetings in the Vatican regarding ufology, starting I think from 2002, if I don't remember wrong. I don't have now but CIFAS is then in direct connection with the Kun, which is like the Italian MUFON. You have MUFON in the US, you have Kun in Italy. Now, I must say that these organizations are heavily infiltrated by the military and by the Vatican. And so I have assisted myself to meetings of the Center for Ufologic Studies in Italy, which is CUN, which was founded by Roberto Pinotti, who is a Freemason and who is himself in contact with the Vatican. And at the same time, the Vatican monitors very closely every single thing that goes on with the alien, ufologic, whatever. I mean, the Opus Dei is very interesting with it.
I was going to ask you about Opus Dei earlier. Listen, we're going to take a break. Can I get you to hang on for another 10 minutes?
Okay, sure.
Yeah, excellent show. Excellent conversation. Let's just take our last break here, and then we'll do a little encore with Leo Zagami live from Rome, Italy. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Bespoke radio for the masses. Excellent conversation. Yeah. More with Leo when we come back. I've got so many things on my brain right now. We'll be back right after this. Stay with us.
are listening to my boy, Jimmy Church, on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Despite popular opinion, reading a book will not make you smarter.
But listening to Jimmy Church will.
Attention, all Fadernauts. Studio Dome has a special deal on their SD1 Bluetooth speaker. Just go to JimmyChurchRadio.com, click on their banner, enter the promo code Jimmy, and you get $40 off and free shipping on the SD1. It's voice activated, comes with a USB antenna, cables, and a carry bag. Never listen to your phone, tablet, or laptop speakers ever again. It's the only way to listen to Fade to Black. That's JimmyChurchRadio.com, Studio Dome banner, promo code Jimmy. Go Beckley Teppy.
Erica, Brittany, Gabby, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com.
It's not a lifestyle we chose. We were born this way. KGRARadio.com.
Hey, everybody, what's up? Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and check this out. The 2015 MUFON Symposium will be held this September 24th through the 27th in beautiful downtown Irvine, California. Expanding ufology, opening new doors in academia, industry, and media. Former Defense Minister of Canada Paul Hellyer will be there in person. Former CNN news anchor Cheryl Jones, TV news journalist Jaime Maussan, and MUFON's chief photo analyst Mark D'Antonio. They're just a few of the growing list of names for the 2015 event. It's September 24th through the 27th at the beautiful Hotel Irvine. Get your tickets today at MUFONSymposium.com. That's MUFONSymposium.com. Go Beckley Teppy.
This is KJCR at JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. What a week we have had here on the show. All of our guests have come from the other side of the pond. We need to do this more often. I'm your host, Jimmy Church, more with Leo Zagami. Leo, I've got a couple of basic questions here. When it comes to the Illuminati, and, we're...
The Illuminati, what are the Illuminati, first of all? That is the question. Because a lot of people don't really know what are the Illuminati. Now, the Illuminati, described in a subjective way, are just the order of the Illuminati founded by Sept in 1776. That's what people generally think. That's not true. The real Illuminati actually existed before within the mystery school tradition and are linked to the Rosicrucian tradition. That's why there is a lot of confusion. Also, there is this tradition which was infiltrated and corrupted by black magicians like Elias Ashmole himself denounced many centuries ago. So basically, in the course of the last few decades, we've seen a lot of confusion on the internet. That's why with the Confessions of an Illuminati Part 1, which will be soon available by CC Publishing, finally, in an academic way, I give you the right perspective of this network, and not limiting it to Adam Weishaupt, and also showing you that I'm not the first one. Already 2 centuries ago, let's say in the 1880s, Stanislaw de Goita, who was a great occultist, who was a founder of an important Rosicrucian order, denounced the Illuminati, being not only Weishaupt, but a whole series of groups as Illuminati. So this is where I'm coming from. I give a more specific address to the problem. I say, okay, this group has to be called in this way. It's part of the Illuminati network. For example, the Bilderberg group is a paramasonic group. You call it paramasonic because it's not strictly Masonic, it's paramasonic. Then you have also fringe Masonry, occult Masonry, which is close to the Illuminati, and is not the same as regular Freemasonry. So all these technical aspects are very complicated, and that's why they need to be explained in the right way. And the context is, of course, a book that you can go through and literally see with your own eyes, and also with the right citations, credible citations. That's also very important, because you can't cite things made by people who are then, not credible. You have to have the right documentation and the right citation to then put together a credible book that people, even in the academic circles, will not be able to debunk in any way.
Well, the mystery schools influencing everything go all the way back to Egypt and the pharaohs, and the mystery schools were born out of those traditions. Yes.
And even before that, because we go all the way back to Atlantis. What we find in Egypt in the Neo-Alexandrian school, the one born in the period of the Emperor Alexander the Great, also in what is known as that great place, which was the library, the Library of Alexander of Egypt.
Yes.
Which was destroyed after by the competition, which was the Christian and the growing competition, which was to establish this Christianity for the whole empire. Of course, had to eliminate any trace that could then create problems for their religion that established themselves, as we know, with the Council of Nicaea as the official creed after for the whole of the empire.
Right.
So, I mean, it became also a political thing that certain knowledge had to be kept in close circles, and for that reason, the secrets were only given with an initiation, an oath, a terrible oath, of death to the person that will take them, to take in these secrets.
Well, we're about to approach another election here in the United States. I have no idea what's going to go on. It's a mess, and I'm embarrassed right now that we're represented by these candidates. But putting that aside, when the president is elected and he goes into the Oval Office, I know he gets a phone call and he finds out that he's not really the boss. You know what I mean? He gets that phone call, and he is spoken to. Is that is
in the mystery school traditions for a long time, for centuries, they have had a very discreet way of relating with these entities we now call aliens. This discreet way meant also that the initiates who had access to the invisible masters, as they were called in a jargon, in a way amongst the initiates, were very few and very trusted by the elite, because here you're talking about invisible entities that obviously communicate knowledge, technology, and all the rest to humankind. So it's very difficult to break this exclusivity deal made through the millennium, with these entities by this occult elite.
Is it every head of state?
Absolutely. So on this planet, you are monitored. That's how it works. This planet is monitored from this external, some people call it federation, but sometimes they put a new age touch to it, which really ruins the whole concept. In a way, we are just subject to constant monitoring from outside as a primitive race.
Is it negative? Is that influence a negative one? Do they have a bad ending? Or is it because they want us to mature and develop and enlighten?
At the same time, we broke certain deals made a long time ago that put us in a bad situation from what is known commonly as the original sin. The original sin, which is written in the Bible, is representing this original sin made by man with his creator, or creators, if you want to give it, because of course the gods are many. The universe is one, if we want to of course call it all part of one God. Of course we can, but the gods that then became the angels, the demons, are distinct entities that respect a hierarchy. And in this hierarchy, we as mankind, in order to find ourselves in this condition where we are now, we made an initial wrongdoing that put us in this situation in which we have to gradually go back towards the Garden of Eden, and that tree of knowledge that we have in a way lost.
Is that one of the secrets that the Vatican is holding so dear? And also, the similarities to Fatima are what I see.
let's say, intermingles, then it kind of joins in with the prophecies, because then, and even Fatima, this whole thing then ends up with mankind realizing that there is some beings that actually predilect some bloodlines to do specific works. This will be for us in this primitive stage in which still we believe in democracy, or that everybody is born with the same possibilities, in a very bad situation, because suddenly we will realize that the plan is very different and that we are subject to rules which are not even of a terrestrial nature.
Right. And is with the witnesses at Fatima, there was tens of thousands of people out there, and they saw what they saw in the sky.
And at one point there was a red cloud. I don't know if you remember this red cloud came up. This red cloud is very significant. It is very significant because then it interconnects with something that happened in Italy. Just at the turn of the millennium, after the turn of the millennium, there was a group of high-level initiates in the Illuminati medium world that started to work on something artistic that could become a sort of gate, like create not only maybe like in the past a building, like for example Stonehenge or whatever. These are like, stargates towards other dimensions and the possibility, like the pyramids and so on. Different. They try to create an artwork. Sometimes it can happen if the artwork is done in a certain way that this artwork becomes itself a gateway to other dimensions. And they did it by basing themselves on this red cloud, and they constructed this painting called Michael's Gate, based on this red cloud, and they painted also this painting using blood, using semen. I mean, it's of course something, not a traditional artwork here. We're talking about an occult work, okay? And this Michael's Gate, you can find it on the internet if you go searching for it. It's the work basically of a group of people who know about the incoming apocalypse, and basically when this, during the Fatima appearances, this young seminarist, at one point, I think it was around 9 o'clock in the evening, said, watch this strange phenomena. There's something happening, in the sky. There is this red cloud. And then they saw this red cloud. They didn't really understand initially what it was. But then they went to pray in this chapel to understand the meaning of the signs for the many nations and what was predicted by the Holy Mary in 1917. And it seemed that then this prediction meant understanding about the wars that were coming up, the terrible wars, And of course, then we have the secret of Fatima, which of course was revealed to these free shepherds, these simple people that really didn't know much about what was going on, then had to be interpreted by the initiates. You understand?
Yes.
So this interpretation at times is revealed to the flock, and of course when it's so evident, like it was in Fatima, the manifestation was so evident, so they couldn't really hide it. They, of course, the Vatican immediately convocates these, the people who are involved in this whole thing. Then they are the ones who decide this information can be released, this can't be released. So anytime you have, not only in the case of Fatima, but of the many other cases, Lourdes, then in the recent years we had Medjugorje. Medjugorje then became a problem for the Vatican in the last few years because the revelations are definitely totally negative for the Church. So now Pope Francis is kind of like, for the first time in the history of the Church, distancing himself from a very successful. because the majority is successful.
I'm looking at the painting here, and that's pretty nuts. I don't even know it's pretty frightening.
It is very frightening because it's linked directly with the Jesuits. Because then these guys who were working on this painting and they created this painting, they themselves are linked to the Jesuits in Rome.
Yeah, that's pretty insane.
And in the end, Michael's Gate nowadays is a painting which is in the hands of somebody who keeps it right in front of the U.S. Embassy in Rome. Literally in front means that from the U.S. Embassy you can literally throw, like a stone to it and it will reach it. It's on the other side of the road. The actual cameras of the American embassies are pointed at all time towards the entrance of this place. And the gate, and Michael's Gate is kept in a little room in this place. And the Illuminati go there and worship this painting so they can access the egregore behind this painting. Because when this painting was actually painted?
No, when?
When you think it was painted?
I tell
you, there is a specific date, and you should know this date. I'm going to project now this date to your mind so you can get it.
Okay, well, it looks modern. That's the thing.
No, it is a date on 2001 when it was created. Which date?
Really?
Yeah, it was actually created in the hours prior to 9/11.
Right. That's a pretty frightening painting, and like I said, it looks modern. It doesn't look. It doesn't look old, but it's definitely frightening. It's definitely frightening. And it was created on September 11th. Wow.
It was created on September 11th. And nowadays, a lot of satanic groups have tried to get hold of this painting.
Yeah.
Because it's very powerful. But the Vatican and the guy who actually holds it at the moment is kind of keeping an eye on it because he himself started to be a little bit scared of the whole thing. Because, yes, he, of course, is an occultist and whatever, and he gave himself really this guy calls himself artistically Hypnos, that's his nickname. In reality, his name is Gilberto. I can't say his surname for obvious reasons, because he now lives in fear. Because he'd been threatened by satanic cults who actually want to take the painting and offered him a lot of money for it. But these are full-on satanic cults. They were full-on. And he was like, okay, I might deal with the Jesuits. I might be a bad guy myself. I might be corrupt at times. But, I don't want to give this painting in the hands of full-on Satanists. So the painting is very powerful, and definitely it's linked with that whole world, which will bring us right where we are now, which is in the unveiling of the prophecies. So Michael's Gate will have a future importance during the unveiling of the prophecies for a specific reason, because it manages, if placed in the right setup, to bring a certain egregore.
I want to end with this, and this is from Allison. She wants to know, what was the original sin?
The original sin was for us to actually, was for us to actually take that holy, that sacred knowledge and basically indulge in what is called matter. Because from spirit we indulged in matter, and when you indulge in matter, things get gradually corrupt, because matter is not as pure as spirit, can never be as pure as spirit, and also cannot be immortal as spirit. And so I think that is really, but it's a very complex theme. And in fact, in 2003, we discussed the possibility of creating a whole conference in Egypt in 2004 based on this theme, which I myself wanted to participate with, with the talk, which also showed that the symbol of Cagliostro. I don't know if you ever heard of the Count Cagliostro, who was a very big protagonist of the French Revolution, and he was himself a Grand Master of the Illuminati at the time, even of Adam Weishaupt. He was initiated also by the Count de Saint-Germain. And Count Cagliostro, who was in contact with Enoch and Elia, he was in contact with the entities. He himself knew about the great alien plan for the turning of the millennium. He basically had this symbol, which he signed with an S, which was made out of a serpent with an arrow casted into the S, killing it, dominating this serpent. I think that the serpent really is the astral plane, and this knowledge of the astral plane that we have completely lost, like the knowledge of the other dimensions, is basically our punishment for having dared probably too much with our creators. I can probably say that for sure, that the original sin is probably having dared too much with our creators, and the subsequent punishment, of course, is deserved. But I mean, saying it like this, it could be a little bit, it's a subject that we should go very much into depth, maybe with a whole radio show only dedicated to that, because it's very complex.
Right. And I was just going to suggest that. And not only that, but I want to bring you back, too, as well, to talk about deep history, to go back to Atlantis and to go back to the ancient Egypt and the old dynasty and the new, and discuss all of that. And we just barely scratched the surface tonight. I want to thank you so much, Leo. Now, listen, what is the best way to get your information on the Internet? If your website is down, where's the best place to go? Is it your blog?
Well, these days, as I said, I am regularly collaborating with InfoWars regarding my information. I have found, I think, one of the best possibility of bringing it out into the open, and also that supports my work, because, you have to also support somebody that, of course, in the past, like me, has been very controversial. But I think I've found the right outlet to do so. And regarding the websites, personal website for my bio and stuff, you can always go on CCC Publishing, which is my publishing company in the US, which is bringing out my books. And I think that really reading my books will be for you much better than find me around the internet, because there is really dozens of videos, a lot of information regarding me. Some of it is correct, some of it is not correct. What I write in my books will be of help to understand really where to pick up the right things and the wrong things on the internet, also regarding my persona.
Thank you so much. What an enlightening conversation tonight. Twitter's been on fire. Everybody is just blown away. And I just want to thank you so much, Leo. Great conversation.
Well, thank you. God bless America. We're going through a very special week. We haven't really touched today also what's happening in CERN. And that is really, of course, the abyss is opening up to bring Apollonion, the angel of the abyss. We can only hope that now that things are really unfolding in front of us, we get less of that religious bigotry about the prophecies and talking about this whole scenario in a more scientific way, so we can have a better understanding of what's really going on. It will be of help for everybody. Thank you, and God bless America.
Thank you so much. And you have to be safe until the next time you come on this show. Okay?
Okay.
I'll talk to you so much. Thank you, Leo.
Bye.
Leo frigging Zagami. Unbelievable. Oh, man. Woo-hoo-hoo. What'd you think of that, Fader Knots? Huh? Oh, man. You know what was great is he was literally, and I know you caught this, it happened about a half a dozen times. He knew the question I was going to ask and cut me off and ran with it. Did you catch that? How interesting was that? I mean, just took the words out of my... I barely got a few words into it, And he just, very, very smart guy. Wow. I don't even know what to say. I would almost be interested, I know he's going to do this with Alex over at InfoWars, but as soon as the Pope leaves the country, we need to get Leo right back on this show. And I don't know how we're going to be able to pull that off, but wow. Have you ever heard me this speechless? I am speechless. Thank you so much. And I was trying to pay attention to Twitter tonight, and I understand. Now, I saw these comments about echo. I don't know what everybody's talking about. Leo was sitting in front of his laptop. He's in a big, stone room somewhere. If that's the echo that you're talking about, there's nothing we can do. And then I saw other people saying that the feeds on other channels didn't have it. So I don't understand what was going on there. All I know is what I was listening to here, and what was being sent out was totally clean. It was totally awesome. So there was nothing wrong with the feed here on our end. And that to see everybody's comment, well, it's fine on this and it's fine on that. I don't know. I don't know what the echo comments were. Okay? There you go. I can't wait for tomorrow night. Tomorrow night is going to be Fader night. We're going to do open lines all night long. And tomorrow is the 24th. Now, we made it through. We have 2 hours left on the West Coast, Pacific time, to the strike of midnight. So we have 2 hours left of being on the 23rd. Nothing has happened. We're all still here. So we'll discuss all of that tomorrow night. Also, by the end of the day tomorrow, the Pope will have spoken at the United Nations. So, joint Congress tomorrow. So we'll be able to talk about that tomorrow night too as well. And I want to hear from everybody about the end of the world. And let's get into all of that. I did want to go back. There was what? Okay. A couple of things really quick. I wanted to get this out. Let me look at the studio clock. Okay, I got enough time to get this in. One of the scariest parts of the massive cybersecurity breaches at the Office of Personnel Management just got worse. The agency now announced today, listen to this, 5.6 million fingerprints were stolen as part of the hack. That's more than 5 times of the 1.1 million government officials estimated when the cyber attacks were initially disclosed over the summer. However, OPM said today the total number of those believed to be caught up in the breaches, which include the theft of Social Security numbers and addresses of more than 21 million former and current government employees. Think about that. Now, I gotta leave on this. Hold on. Where is this? Oh, I have this great that happened today in Burbank. A 78-year-old shopper was punched in the face by another customer while he was trying to eat Nutella waffle samples at Costco right here in Burbank. The unidentified shopper said he was reaching for a waffle at the sample table at Costco in Burbank when another man swooped in and took all of the remaining samples off the table. This is according to the Burbank police. The shopper said something about it. And that's when they said Derek Garabigi, 24 years old, punched the older man, 78 years old. He went to the hospital with a cut and swelling on the left side of his face, and Garabigi was charged with felony elder abuse and personal infliction of great bodily injury against a person over 70 years of age. He was arraigned in court today and pled not guilty. Costco samples. Really. That's the reason why the Pope is here. 78-year-old elderly people are being beaten up in Costco over samples. The Four Horsemen are next. Thank you, Leo Zagami. Absolutely fascinating interview. Thank you. Fade to Black's executive producer is Rita Kamarian. Show is produced by Hilton J. Paul, Mark D. Kovar, LJ3, Renee, Mark Dunbar, and Jonas. Announcers are Steve Harder, Gene Vito, Mark D. Kovar, Fady by Dale. Webmaster is Drew the Geek. Music, Doug Aldridge. Intro, spaceboymusic.com. Fade to Black is produced by KJCR for the Game Changer Network. Syndication is KGRA The Planet. I want to say any name drops or anything that Leo did during the show tonight are on Leo. It has nothing to do with Fade to Black or the opinions of this show. This broadcast is owned and copyrighted 2015 by Fade to Black and the Game Changer Network and cannot be rebroadcast, downloaded, copied, or used anywhere in the known universe without written permission from Fade to Black or the Game Changer Network. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Follow us on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Everyone be safe. Go Beckley Teppy.